presidential term limit. Ruto said that he cannot support it, yet he opposed the BBI, which was pushing for such agenda.
I want to be very clear that as president, I will not participate in mutilating the constitution for purposes of serving selfish, personal, parochial interests. The same way we opposed BBI because it was meant to achieve selfish, parochial, personal interests. We will oppose any move to change the constitution. I will be at the front to say no to any change of the constitution, to change term limit, to change things that benefit individuals.
The rescue efforts continued at night at the scene where a 7-story building collapsed at Kasarani 3 days ago. 3 bodies have been retrieved and several others rescued from the rubble. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja, who visited the area, condemned construction site supervisors who ignored warnings from the National Construction Authority.
Just pull down those buildings yourselves or let us come for you. Because in search for profits, you're endangering lives. How much money can replace the life of those who we have lost? You're using the wrong materials, you're using the wrong building standards. I know this problem has been there for very long. People have said many words. Now that we're in charge, let's not say much, you will see the action. Already we have changed our technical approval committee in Nairobi County. We'll be issuing the new names today and we're conducting an investigation. If I find any officer from Nairobi County having been culpable at any point, they will go home and they will be charged.
Sakaja further says that police have launched a manhunt on the developer of the building, who will be charged with murder.
This building had an enforcement notice starting from last year and this February. In fact, yesterday, NCA were here, they closed down the site, but the contractor knows that in such cases you just go on and you pay a few people here and there and you go on. So from the county, we're going to take action. Developer must be charged in court. In fact, Waziri, we will liaise with the police and the DCI to find that developer who knows he should not be building a building in this way. The standards of materials are wrong. He did not get any permit from the county. There was an enforcement notice, but because of impunity decided to go on. He needs to be charged with murder because that is murder.
Among the dead is a woman identified as Lucy Wanjiru, who was selling food to the workers in the building. She was initially in contact with the rescue officials using a phone before going quiet, only to be found dead 3 hours later. Lancius Zakaria Njeru visited the scene and had this to say.
Nyumba kama hizi ambazo zinaendelea bila mpango na bila kuwa zimeweza kupewa kibali na the agents ambazo ziko, they should stop forthwith. We are going to take stern action for those who will defy.
The Treasury is set to disburse 2 billion shillings every week from next week, Monday, to finance the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, however, says that CS Njuguna Ndung'u says the release of the funds will be guided by the Attorney General's office.
Subject to the legal advice from the Office of the Attorney General, the National Treasury commits to disburse Kenya shillings 2 billion to the NG-CDF every week, effective the week starting 21st November 2022. But members may note that there is that proviso on subject to getting an opinion from the Office of the Attorney General. And Honorable Speaker, I do not want to dwell on that subject a lot because we have had discussions outside this plenary, Honorable Speaker.
MPs Junet Mohammed and the nominated MP John Mbadi have expressed dissatisfaction with Njuguna's response, terming it as unbelievable.
This new government of Kenya Kwanza, if they have no money to fund the CDF, let them just say we have no money, we are broke. Instead of telling us, oh, it's the court, is there. I want Parliament to summon the Attorney General, to summon all people in the executive who are dealing with the NG-CDF, so that we can face them on the eye and tell them that Kenyans are suffering.
Treasury has no reason at all, zero at all, Majority Leader, to delay up to today. There is no reason. Let them release funds and let them not talk about 2 billion. Let them accumulate all the 2 billions per week from July 1st up to today, get the total amount. If it is less than 44, let them release that percentage. If it is beyond 44, we are not asking for more than 44 billion. Let them release 44 billion, which they have been accumulating from 1st of July when the government of Kenya started collecting money for 2022-2023 financial year.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseta. Good morning.
SpiceFM, Nyeri.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Heri Latifa, Muga, Madam Du, nimesalamia wote sana.
Tumepokea salamu, asante sana.
Hapa Garissa today the weather is very good, only that baridi inatupeleka mbio sana.
Sasa baridi ni degree ngapi hapo?
Hata sijui lakini madam tunakauka sana.
If you want to follow the money trail, you've got to think like a thief to be able to catch that thief.
A slap from a friend is better than a kiss from an enemy. You remember the kiss of Judas Iscariot? Iscariot.
Yes.
Is the one that imetuweka kwa hii mashida yote na mataabu kwa sababu of that kiss. Yet the slap of Jesus Christ when he slapped those guys wenye walikuwa wanauza mboga ndani ya kanisa took them to heaven.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
I see Thursday, and it's going to be a busy day. We can see that already. It rained overnight, and so there is quite a lot in terms of slippery roads this morning. Let's look at what's happening on Landis Road as you're going towards Kamkunji earlier this morning. Quite some traffic there. A number of accidents on these busy streets. It's because it's slippery and folks are not going as slowly as they ought to. So here's a warning. Please be very careful. Slippery roads, and we're looking at places like Mudangari, already flooded on that drift going towards Wayakiwe on James Gishuru. Number of vehicles had problems yesterday, so you want to be very careful. There's been an overturning of a lorry on Gong Road just after the river getting to the Karen Westwood Junction. So please be very, very careful when you're in these areas. And there's going to be some traffic because of some of these accidents that we've seen already. So this is just a warning shot to let us know what's going on in about half hour or so and see how the traffic has leveled out. SpiceFM KE this Thursday morning. Let us know from where you are what's going on.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room. The only way to start.
Haujambo mahali popote ulipo, asubuhi hii ya leo, karibu sana katika kipindi chetu hiki cha Situation Room. Siti, hujambo?
Sijambo, sijui wewe.
Hata mimi.
Unajui sio? Okay, basi wewe hivyo tu.
Tukaa hivyo. Sidio?
Mambo inakuwaga hivyo tu.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good. Mambo yanavyokwenda yanakwenda. Ndu?
Yes.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
You're saying it's raining and flooded in Nairobi?
Yeah, but now.
This rain actually is a bit immense, eh?
You know, don't underestimate this rain that comes little like this over time. So if you look at it properly, it's been raining since yesterday morning, right? Some parts are flooded. Seriously, it has. It's raining since yesterday morning. Drizzling.
It's been raining since yesterday morning.
Kama mlikata miti mkachoma makaa shauriani.
Even now, as I was coming to work, I have not encountered any rainfall.
Come on, Eric.
Mahali unaishi wenye dhambi ni wewe.
Hata hapa mahali huko wewe huko sahi hakunyeshi.
Ndio basi wenye dhambi hapa ni headquarter wako wengi.
But I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm doing well, thank you.
Which part is raining?
It's raining on Mombasa Road.
Where I live, it's raining. It's been raining since I think something like around 11 yesterday. And it's rained through. I woke up, it's raining.
11 in the morning.
It is raining.
I went to bed, it was raining. I woke up, it was raining. Coming to work, it was raining.
Yes. Asubuhi leo Raining.
Let me give you some advice, Eric. Be present. Live in the moment. Dance in the rain. Smell the flowers. View the rainbows.
You people.
And secondly, don't worry.
Be happy.
You're wearing those goggles of yesterday.
No, it's probably you who's wearing them.
Goggles.
You are living in an alternate reality. But you asked, and I've answered. I'm fine.
Sawa. It's good to hear that you're fine.
Hiya.
No, I will tell you the source of that particular math later on.
Okay.
Yes, I will tell you. And you, Eric Latif, are a prophet. Not in the making, not in training, bona fide, card carrying, full membership. He's a prophet, and I'll tell you why.
I should open a subscription channel.
Not only offer a subscription channel, every time people look at any page where you're related, whether it is Facebook, Twitter, and everything else, walipe. Because the benefit they get from there is immense.
Big time.
Yes.
Let me tell you what we'll be discussing today. At 7 o'clock, World Children's Day 2022. We'll talk about equality and inclusion for every child, and we'll be having two guests joining us in the studio. One is a child protection specialist with UNICEF Kenya, Yoko Kobayashi. And the second one is the Assistant Director of Children's Services at the National Council for Children's Services, Trufena Chemeningwa. They will be here at 7 o'clock to talk about equality and inclusion for every child. And then at 8 o'clock, we hope to host the Uganda opposition leader, Kizza Besigye, who's in the country, to have a conversation about politics, human rights, East African community and politics in the region and all. That's at 8 a.m. 9 o'clock, Lorenza Gambakota is the Deputy Head of Mission at the Embassy of Italy in Kenya. And you know what we've been talking about, the Italian Cuisine Week all over the world for the 7th year running. It's taking place. And Lorenza will be here too. She'll come with tiramisu.
She'll come with tiramisu? She better.
Yes. And everybody will taste it.
Everybody where? Everybody here?
Everybody in the world.
Oh, so.
Yes. It will be free on offer. Just need to get here. Yeah. So, tell us about our fight against COVID.
All right, let's do that. The Ministry of Health tells us that 90 people have tested positive from a sample size of 75 in the last 24 hours. That gives Kenya, again, a positivity rate of 10%. If we're looking at that number, slightly over 10%, actually. And the ministry at this time is calling for caution as the country battles the 7th wave of COVID. Did you realize that we were in the 7th wave? You did?
I'm not sure. I didn't know that it was 7th.
I thought it was the 3rd.
I stopped counting.
No, I think we left the 3rd quite some time ago, CT.
The 3rd was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the positivity rate going as high as 15% from 0.1% since the end of the 6th wave in June. So you can imagine 15 times the number. So the 6th wave was about 4 months ago. However, there's no cause for alarm, as no increase in hospitalization and fatalities has been witnessed. So, c'est un bon chose. The ministry has called on Kenyans to exercise caution as the country battles a possible 7th wave, and the number of infections in the country has continued to rise in the past few weeks. Positivity rate has gone as high as 15%. We're looking at it at about 10% right now. The head of preventive and promotive health at the ministry, Dr. Andrew Mulu, our friend, says there is no cause for alarm. He says we've not seen an increase in admissions or poor outcomes as a result of new cases. And this is a testament to the fact that our vaccination program against COVID is working. He said in the previous cycles, when we had a peak of infections, more hospitalizations, more people requiring oxygen, more deaths, but we've not seen that. And therefore, we encourage our unvaccinated people to do so. It will help. Positivity rate has, in the last months, with the data showing the percentage was at 0.9 at the beginning of October, and then we see by the end of October, well into the mid-November, we've seen that go from 10% to as high as 15%. But again, no cause for what?
Alarm.
No cause for alarm. That's what it looks like. Looking at numbers around the world of 641,450,062. That's what it looks like for COVID.
All right. It's 6:15. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. And I keep saying we are live streaming, which also means that if you miss any conversation, you can go back to YouTube and you'll find
the conversations there. Many people actually tell us that when they are not able to listen to the show in the morning, in the evening or at some point, they're then going to catch up with conversations, which is very good. So take that and do it as well. Are you online? Let us know where you're tuned in from, and we will do the thing that we normally do each and every weekday morning at around this time, which is acknowledge your presence. Let's take a look at the weather forecast. It's raining everywhere else apart from where I've been.
In Eric's world, it's dry.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Everyone remembers the ambition they first had when they started their business.
A business holds promise. An idea could blow up and change lives anywhere on the planet. But the best idea is not worth much if it can't be executed by a solid team. Introducing The Room, the talent solution that provides a global network of tech talent, relationships, and resources dedicated to drive growth and innovation in your business. Hire tech talent and pick from qualified software engineers, cloud developers, web developers, and data analysts, all vetted and trained to Silicon Valley standards. The way we work has changed.
At 17, highs of 22 and lows of 16 today. It's also raining at 14 in Nakuru, highs of 21 and lows of 14. One place where it is clear is in Eldoret. It's 14, highs of 21 and lows of 13. But we're looking at rain in Nyeri at 15, going to highs of 20 and lows of 14. The sun will shine this morning, at least for a short time in Mombasa. It will go to highs of 30 and lows of 24. We're already seeing rain showers in some parts of Malindi at 25, highs of 30. And we'll see lows of 24 today. It's raining out in Kisumu, highs of 26 and lows of 19. Mostly cloudy conditions in Kakamega at 16, highs of 23 and lows of 16. It's mostly cloudy in Kampala. We'll see highs of 25 and it'll go to highs of 31 in a rainy Dar es Salaam at 25. Johannesburg is mostly cloudy at 16, highs of 28. And we'll see highs of 32 where it's doing what? It's raining in Lagos at 26, 24 and raining in Kinshasa, highs of 28 and lows of 23. It's 11 degrees and sunny out in Beijing going into Thursday afternoon. We'll see highs of 15 and lows of 3. It's raining out in Paris. Highs of 14 and lows of 8. Light rain at 11 in London. Highs of 12 and lows of 8. And looking into New York, it's still Wednesday night. It's partly cloudy at 6. Coming into Thursday, we'll see highs of 10 and lows of 3.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
All right, it's 9.
Done right. 94.4.
Terry Henry Ochoki is tuned in this morning and says, good morning, Bahrain. You know what Bahrain is?
Bahrain is here.
Wainaina Sophie says, good morning. Zachary Odio says he's tuned in from Kakamega. And Morris Monye Oyando says, yes, likewise, in Mohoroni, it's been raining in Ombaso since 11 p.m. last night. Nonetheless, do have a pleasant day. Titi in your shags, it's raining. Peter Wagashosho says
that's what he was talking about. Just now when City said it's raining in my home. Nafikiri ni hapa Nairobi. Kumbe the man is talking about Moroni.
By the way, the sort of rain that I encounter as myself is that particular pattern they speak with each other. Even here in Nairobi it rained. So, just there's uniformity.
Okay. Got it.
Rained in Shags,
rained here.
Yeah, bus.
Home.
Ili mjue.
Ujue aje, it's been raining huko okay, yeah. 44 is tuned in. Wandera, it's raining. Let's just keep it like that. Watching you from Orlando, Florida. Good morning. That's what Elizabeth Wanyoike says. Good morning, folks, from the Czech Republic. Ile. I always try and tune into the freshest conversation back home. Well, thank you, Matthias Owalo. Good morning to you. Good morning, all tuning from Mombasa. And that's where Robin Bogo is this morning. Excuse me. Jermaine Atieno says, good morning. It's Justice Thursday. Is it now? Jumbo to you. Kapinguria is where Dennis is this morning. Cleophas Anam says, Kolwen in Nyakach sub-county is tuned in. Good morning, Wangwana. Hello guys, good morning. That's James Oliver Muli is tuned in this morning as well. Farista Muganda says good morning. Jose Mushiri is present. Good morning. Tuning from Mombasa is where Benson Mumo is. Tuning from Westlands, where incidentally is where one Mr. Eric is coming from. And it's raining cats and dogs. Hello?
It's raining cats and dogs in Westlands.
It's raining.
Okay.
It's selective.
Nisawa.
It's okay.
Like you can find on Mombasa Road, it's raining in this compound.
But then
Next
Victoria
compound.
Courts is not raining.
Yes.
Okay. Nisawa. I understand. The United States of Utawala is where Newton is this morning. James, you want to see me in a camera? How does this work exactly? Zachary says good morning. It's always good to have a good program to wake up to. Indeed, I hope that God keeps you safe from the what now? The small time Nairobi thugs. Indeed, soon and very soon they shall know that they have bitten more than they can chew. Never dare government to the extent of making it loud and clear. Guess what? Gatondo South is rainy and tuned.
Okay.
Machakos is tuned in this morning. Ukambani is green now. Beautiful indeed. Thankful for the rains. Absolutely. We are very thankful for the rains. Hopefully they go far and wide. Okwiri, we see you. Babanjao, Samo Maina, Mtaiga. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Everybody, Karibu City. Take the tablet
and
the Standard Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra
and read the proverb.
Yes.
Okay. A canoe does not know who the leader is. When it turns, everyone gets wet.
A canoe does not know who the leader is.
Yes.
When it turns,
yes,
everyone gets wet.
Yes. Have you ever been on a canoe?
Canoe ni gani?
Ile boat ndogo watu wanaweza tosha kama tano.
The one for paddling.
The slim one, yes. Yes, you paddle.
The one for paddling.
Yes. Man, if you don't follow those instructions, you won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You're told, seriously, that thing can just rotate round. It can go round, yes. If you're told, if you want to go left, you do this. If you want to go right, you do this. If you want to go forward, you do this. You make the mistake
of not doing this.
Of trying to be clever. You'll just find that canoe rotating on the same spot.
Okay.
And it is not difficult for the canoe to capsize. Not difficult at all.
And that's where now everybody gets wet.
Everyone who is in that boat.
It doesn't know who the leader is.
Usually, if there are many of you, there's one person who has to be giving instructions. Okay? But you have a situation where there's more than one boss. River Jordan. I've been on that river.
You've been to Canaan?
Me, I've been.
Ulienda Canaan, ukacha sisi hapa.
Milienda. Sasa.
No wonder they call you Moses. Now they should call you Aaron. Moses did not cross.
Moses never crossed over.
Sasa. Kwenye trip ya kanisa. So, we put in groups. There's one canoe which had senior pastor and the big pastors. That boat was not moving. See, everybody there was boss.
Everybody was issuing instructions.
Yes.
Allah?
Yes.
No, this way, not that way.
Yes, and then there's some to read on the side. There's some people. Again, people are a little higher up in the rank in the church. You find there are two of them, each giving instructions. You find the canoe is headed towards some reed. It's gotten stuck there. When you look back, another one has capsized. Fortunately, it isn't deep. Now I understood why we had been told, remove everything from your pockets when you get on that canoe.
Because?
Everything. I understood. Because if it capsizes, you will get wet.
You will be in the water.
That thing was hilarious. But then the joke turned on us. Because as we got too engrossed in making fun and looking at the others, we forgot the instructions. See, our boats are doing this thing. It capsized. That's how come I know the river was not deep.
I think the whole idea was for you to do that thing 7 times. Did you do it 7 times?
No. When we got on...
Got onto the River Jordan.
I couldn't figure out whether to paddle left, right, but there's somebody who had understood it. I said, why doesn't so-and-so speak? Because they seem to understand this thing. And we eventually we're not number one, at least we're number 2. But the other 3, I got the impression some of them were going to carry that canoe of theirs instead of the canoe carrying them.
Because they just kept capsizing.
It was too funny for words. They didn't think it was funny. I actually thought it was quite funny.
From what you saw.
It was actually hilarious.
The proverb again?
Proverb, a canoe does not know who the leader is. When it turns, everyone gets wet.
Nice one. So let's look at what is inside the papers, and we'll tell you about the Standard Insider subscription platform of the Standard newspaper, where you get all the premium news content making headlines while providing you with information, knowledge and inspiration that you need for just 199 shillings. That is 199 bob. You can now bob our monthly offer to get access to curated stories that meet your needs. Just go to www.standardmedia.co.ke. Save 100 bob by doing the 199 for a month. It doesn't get any better than this. Please, please. Hear me, oh ye people. 199 a month, standardmedia.co.ke, premium subscription content. That's a Standard Insider. What's on the Standard headline?
All right. Okay, so looking at the headline on Standard today, and MP set stage for big clash with CJ Kome. Did you know there was something like that coming? All eyes will be on the Attorney General, Justin Muturi, after the Treasury said it was ready to begin disbursing 2 billion shillings in NG-CDF cash weekly, subject to legal advice. How the AG decides could trigger the first major clash with the Supreme Court, which ruled the fund is unconstitutional. So that's the thing.
Okay.
Okay, that's one of them. Bill Gates met the president, William Ruto, at State House yesterday. They have agreed to collaborate in programs of food security and universal health coverage. We'll look at that later.
Okay.
The Nation is telling us how Jubilee's 32 billion shilling laptop project flopped. In case you didn't know that it flopped. They're giving us the details as to how that happened.
Of what happened to it. Right.
And Ruto sets a trap for Raila and Kalonzo in Yala seats race.
That's an interesting one. He has set a trap for them.
A trap, yes. So, you want to know? I tell you after City tells us.
City, do you have the Star?
I do.
All right, what's the headline?
Yala hopefuls hustle MPs as voting looms.
Do you?
Yala hopefuls hustle MPs.
Yes, beehive of activities as candidates held small kamkunji with MPs late into last night. Yes, now that's more in the corner on the right. There's like a small headline, billions at stake. Unions fight over junior secondary school placement. Should it be in the primary school? Should it be in the secondary school? And if then, what are the implications?
Yes.
Business Daily. KQ to delay November pay after pilot strike hit sales.
November, okay.
Workers walkout cost the airline an estimated 1.2 billion Kenya shillings. National Carrier says it has suffered revenue dips. Make sense?
So 1.2 B in those 4 or 5 days of the workers' walkouts. Wow.
Yes.
What's their wage bill?
They don't mention. They only talk about revenue.
So they're delaying salaries for this month.
Yes.
Because are going to pay.
But, you know, that airline makes money when it's flying and carrying passengers. And those planes are flown by pilots. Now, if the pilots aren't flying the planes, simple logic, surely, where's the money going to come from? It isn't as though Kenya Airways has buses that, so in the absence of the planes, the buses can actually ferry people from Mombasa to wherever.
So to me, pesa last month.
That is also something very interesting because there are recurrent expenses which every organization has. Sasa, those recurrent expenses aren't felt when there's revenue that keeps coming in. When it stops coming in, then you suddenly find that you are in, should we say, dire straits.
Kabisa? You find yourself dire.
You will find yourself dire. Ile dire wajua kabisa.
Where?
They didn't say not pay, they said delay.
Delay.
November pay. Delay.
By how many days do they indicate?
Delay.
By a number of delay.
Delay means it will not come at the time it normally comes.
So they're giving them a salary warning. I mean, it's 17th of November. We're talking about the salary that should come at the end of the month.
No, the delay makes sense. You know why this announcement makes sense? Because if it's November, pay this month.
Which should come at the end of the month.
Yes, of this month. So they give you advance warning.
Which is good.
I would have thought they would have waited for us to get into December to give them the warning for November pay.
No, I mean, yeah, they should do that.
So that you're telling, that pay which hasn't come, by the way, it's going to be delayed. So you can't say that you haven't experienced it. It's something that you know. Because it's genuinely
that
delayed.
feeling that you have right now, it is because
there's a delay.
It's a delay. Experience, lived experience.
Hey, you're not swimming in uncharted waters.
Let's take a break. It's 6:30. Today, do you have your watch?
Oh, you have done me dirty, man.
You're not wearing your watch today?
No.
Don't
like it even.
The Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. I'm wearing mine.
But, you know,
telling me that
I also am
slept
wearing mine. Yes.
Somebody got me buds.
You know something, my friend?
Me.
Yes. I'll tell you what. You know, this story of what the watch does and how it does it. Okay? Every new day brings new revelation. How it does it. Okay? Every new day brings new revelations. It's doing the things I said it would do, but you contextualize it differently and you realize, my goodness, the scope of things that this watch can actually do. Not that it's doing it different, just the circumstances, the environment has changed and you realize, my goodness, this is a watch for all seasons.
Eric said it told him he slept better last night.
When you know there's something watching over your sleep.
My sleep score has improved.
Yes, when you know that there's something that is watching your stress levels and something that can navigate your path, you'll sleep easy. But it can even wake you up if that is what you need.
Only thing that the watch has not told me that it's been raining in city's neck of the wood.
Even your neck.
Wakina City.
We gotta ask the watch. Because
ask the watch, man.
We can ask the watch if it was raining in your house.
As I left my house to my car this morning, I was not rained on. As I left the car to walk to the office this morning, I was not rained on. This is a place that is 10 kilometers distant.
It happens sometimes.
Okay. Don't worry.
It happens.
Let's take a break.
It happens.
Okay.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
3, 2.
Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Eric Latifa, Muga, Madam Du, nimesalamia wote sana.
Tumepokea salamu, asante sana.
Hapa Garissa today the weather is very good, only that baridi inatupeleka mbio sana.
The baridi ni degree ngapi hapo?
Hata sijui lakini madam tunakauka sana.
If you want to follow the money trail, you've got to think like a thief to be able to catch that thief.
A slap from a friend is better than a kiss from an enemy. You remember the...
So we have a couple of accidents this morning, not something that we want to look forward to, but it just means we're going to slow things down. If you're coming from that Wentwood area, excuse me, coming in from Karen this morning and onto, Westwood, going then towards Gong Road, it's blocked. Not will be blocked, it's blocked because of this truck that has fallen and has blocked the road completely. So you're going to have to find an alternate route. And traffic started about an hour ago as folks are trying to get off that. So, and unfortunately, if you're coming off Gong Road, there's no alternate road right now. So you have to go all the way around and think about using the bypass to get to the city, if that's where you're coming from. So Westwood Road completely blocked. If you're coming from Gong Road, there's no route. So please use an alternate route before you even get on that trail. All right. So we're going to look at traffic coming off from Gong Road. It's going to be quite something today. You want to think about leaving now if you haven't already. Langata Road doesn't look too bad. Jogger Road started to build up a while ago. And we're also looking at action happening on the Thika Superhighway. Quite heavy right at Pangani, in between Allsops and Survey. And then going out towards the Utali Drift, nothing much happening right now, but we're likely to see that pick up. So the rains are coming down. Tarmac is slippery, folks. So please be very careful and let us know where you might be stuck this morning, and we'll see about alternate routes. Share those two. SpiceFM, KE on Twitter.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
25 minutes to 7. So issues on the road this morning. Be careful wherever you are. So Parliament is due to vote for members of the East African Legislative Assembly today.
Yes.
And you're saying the president has set a trap for who?
A trap for Kinasmio.
Aye, but tell us that story.
Let me tell you. Ruto sets a trap for Kalonzo Raila in Yala seats battle. President William Ruto yesterday unveiled 5 party-backed regional assembly nominees as he appeared to set a trap for Azimio leaders Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka, who have both fronted their kin for the top jobs. MPs are today expected to vote on the 9 representatives of Kenya in the East Africa Legislative Assembly. But for Dr. Ruto, interviews with MPs who attended a meeting in State House yesterday indicated the vote presents an opportunity to throw the Azimio team into further chaos, especially if Parliament approves Mr. Odinga's daughter Winnie and Mr. Musyoka's son Kennedy at the expense of their hopefuls. During yesterday's joint parliamentary group meeting at Kenya Kwanza Alliance legislators, Dr. Ruto chided Mr. Odinga and Mr. Musyoka for nominating their kin for Yala slots. He reportedly termed the development an opportunity for the ruling coalition to disorganize themselves. I do not understand the wisdom of a person nominating his son or daughter for a seat. However,
who said this?
Dr. Ruto.
Right.
Allons-y. All right. Dr. Ruto chided Mr. Odinga and Mr. Musyoka for nominating their kin for the slots, but reportedly termed the development. Okay, yeah, we said that. However, our work is not to organize the opposition, but to disorganize them. Some MPs who attended the meeting said this and spoke to the nation, quoting the president as saying, the boss sounded like he was not okay with the family factor in the Azimio side, since 2 of the candidates are children of the Azimio honchos. He said he was like he wanted the family character to be dislodged. This will help us get Jubilee on our side. You see the trap?
I don't see the trap.
So they're saying that...
You see, ODM has the kin of Raila. Wiper has kin of Kalonzo.
Yeah,
Jubilee
has nada.
Has children of stragglers.
Yeah. No blood.
Panini Kega,
Jeremiah Kioni.
See?
There's no blood.
Okay.
So now you've nominated your people. Who are we? Children of a lesser God.
Okay.
You see? So the likelihood of them going on to the other side because you have favored your children, it comes from a place of, bitterness.
You do know what I'm going to ask.
Ask.
Okay, ask.
And where's the problem?
Can I continue the story?
Yes, continue.
So, excuse me, another UDA MP from Mount Kenya said they were briefed on how to widen the already existing wedge in Azimio between the former ruling Jubilee Party and ODM. Since Jubilee MPs last week threatened to quit Azimio over their Parliamentary Service Commission pick, Sirisia's John Waluke was left... Sorry, let me just continue the story because that's another whole kettle of fish.
John Waluke had been nominated by Jubilee to be a member of the Parliamentary Service Commission.
There's a small problem of him, being...
So now John Waluke is not around.
Available. So...
And at what point was he available?
Before you went...
Earlier he was available.
And then...
There's a small matter of being...
The scholarship took effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
State guest. All right. So, he was left out of the coalition lineup for the powerful post with ODM's Mishi Mboko and Okongo Omogeni bagging the slots. Wiper's Patrick Macau also got the party's PSC slot. At State House yesterday, the president allowed Kenya Kwanza MPs to decide on the Yala picks via a mock election held after the PG. The party had 15 names, with the MPs required to vote for 5, with the names placed in the 5 clusters of 3 people each for regional and gender balance. Following the vote, the PG settled on former Mombasa Senator Hassan Omar, ex-nominated MP David Sankoch, ex-Nandi woman Representative Zipporah Kering, ex-nominated Senator Falada Iman Dikau, and former United Republican Party Secretary General Fred Muteti. We divided the 15 candidates into regions around 3 clusters. Then we all voted to come up with the 5 candidates who will be supported by us during Thursday's vote. Thursday is which day?
Today.
All right.
I like what they've done.
The strategy.
I like
the
what
precision.
Kenya Kwanza have done. Because it's clear. You are 15 of you. We are going to focus on regional balance. We're going to focus on these things. And the members are then going to pick. It's clear.
You picked it.
It's clear.
It was clear what we're going to do.
Yeah.
There's no,
you lobby, you get
ambiguity here and about how we went about it. Right?
Azimio guys are going now to battle it out on the floor of the house. And embarrass each other and themselves on the floor of the house.
So you see the way it's going to happen on the floor of the house for KK is very clear.
KK
we agreed as a
and
party and we are voting for Kering, Sankok, Omar, Muteti and Falada.
And they have a majority. So those ones are in 5.
So those guys are in.
Yeah.
The 4 now for Azimio is they need
this other side to vote for them as well.
Which means
they need them to vote for them as well.
And it doesn't matter. The thing is, the majority has 5, the minority has 4. So Kenya Kwanza guys, like you're saying, could actually go and vote for all the 3 Jubilee people.
Exactly.
Yes, they could.
It is not clear from the get-go who their people are. And
Kenya Kwanza can just go and disrupt this thing, go and vote for all 3 Jubilee people.
Clean.
It'll be
And you see what they've said. You see what they've said from the very beginning. I'm not saying that you should not nominate people in your family, but what does it show? So now what we're going to do is through our organization, we are going to disorganize you.
That's politics.
Nice game.
That's politics. And when you're nominated for a position such as this one, which is a political one, you have paid full subscription fees for the games. You've entered politics. And what we're discussing are the vagaries that politics. Are possibilities. You could go in, you could stay out. Those are possibilities. This is now politics.
It is all now politics.
Yes, it is.
Just continuing that story just for a little bit. In that PG, the president told the members of UDA, now you guys, see, I'm the party leader of UDA. We have been saying that MPs will be coughing 10,000 shillings from their salary every month towards party subscription. No, we are increasing that to 20,000 shillings.
That's good. That's a spirit.
It's gone up to 20.
Come on.
Okay? And me as president, I'll be paying 200,000 shillings every month towards the party. You guys will be paying MPs 20,000 shillings. Senators, 50,000 shillings every month. Inaenda kwa chama. At the same time, there was this small matter of some petitions that have gone to the Speaker of the National Assembly with regards to the IEBC Cherera 4. Ruto said, you guys, what we need to do. Let's just go to Parliament and do it. President William Ruto has given the green light for the removal of 4 commissioners of the Electoral Agency. Speaking at a Kenya Kwanza Parliamentary Group meeting at State House, Nairobi yesterday, he reportedly told the lawmakers, do what you have to do. He didn't tell us directly how to handle this matter, but from the body language, anyone could tell what he meant. Another source quoted Ruto as saying, you should do what is right. If we don't solve the problems facing this country, no one might solve them. In future, the same problems will recur since we didn't play our part as leaders. The National Assembly Speaker, Moses Wetangula, on Tuesday received 4 petitions seeking the removal of the IEBC Deputy Chairperson, Juliana Cherera, Commissioners Francis Wanderi, Irene Masit, and Justice Nyang'aya. KK MPs and senators made clear their intention to remove them from office, with the IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati and the other 2 retiring later this year. Meanwhile, why did this petition not arrive at the floor of the House sooner enough? The circus at the Electoral Commission is far from over after it emerged that 3 other petitions were received at the National Assembly Main Roads Unit seeking the removal of Chairperson Wafula Chebukati and Commissioners Boya Molu and Abdigulie. The 3 petitions by Shemotiano, each focusing on the respective commissioners, were allegedly filed about a month ago, but they were never presented to the Speaker. The petitioner accuses the 3 of gross violation of the Constitution, incompetence and gross misconduct. Otieno is accusing Chebukati of undermining the Constitution and arrogating himself all the powers of the Commission. He says IEBC chairperson undermined the authority of the Commission by overriding, excluding, vetoing and ignoring the other commissioners when discharging duty contrary to the Constitution. However, Sasa, as you can hear, it went to the National Assembly Main Records Unit a bit late.
So it was filed much earlier than the one which that headlined this particular story.
Yes.
and somehow they've arrived at the same time. Okay, so let's see how this one plays out. There is a process for removing
a commissioner of the IEBC.
Yes. And we'll discuss the process in due course, and we'll see how that process goes. Now, you wondered why it was. I started laughing in the morning.
Yes.
And why I refer to you as a prophet.
Yes.
Oh, no. Indeed, you are. Once upon a time, there was an issue that related to what we call special police units in this particular country. And you said, every administration has had special police, whether you're going to call them Kwekwe Squad, Flying Squad, SDU,
ATPU,
CCF, whatever you want to call them, they will be there. We're told no. These people have broken the law, they've gone rogue, they're disbanding them, they're getting rid of them completely because we do not need them. Then what do you hear? Then what do you read? Return of special police units as crackdown on gangs intensifies. Now, is this not the height of humor?
Return on?
Of special police units as crackdown on gangs intensifies.
Okay, read the story.
The headline simply stated, new specialized police units are set for a comeback as the government moves to contain soaring crime in Nairobi, where armed gangs and pickpockets have turned certain parts into no-go zone areas. All right. The expected return of the elite units is part of new measures, which take effect today, aimed at ridding the city of marauding gangs that have been robbing, shooting, and stabbing people with knives. What else could they have stabbed people with? Anyway, the new measures, spoons perhaps, the new measures...
Forks.
Point.
Someone was actually arrested yesterday. Some people were arrested yesterday, and police found forks, knives, sharp items. You also talked about hangers.
Yes, I did. I did. I'm just asking, but here... Okay. So these ones specialize in knives, not any of the other implements. The new measures come barely 24 hours after General Service Unit GSU and Rapid Deployment Unit RDU officers were deployed to patrol the city streets. A cabinet meeting chaired by President William Ruto on Tuesday evening approved the deployment of every available legal option to stem the wave of crime that has rocked the city. The meeting noted that from an overall perspective, the state of national security is sound, even though parts of the country had over the last week experienced a surge in crime, particularly in Nairobi, as characterized by increased mugging and robberies, and in the north, where perennial banditry and cattle rustling activities continue, said a dispatch from the cabinet. Following the reorganization of the Nairobi County Security Command, there is the deployment of additional specialized police units drawn from the GSU and RDU, the cabinet dispatch added. So, disband one, create another.
Tusonge. This one will not be doing extrajudicial, not like the other one.
No, the other one was bad.
The other one was very bad. The other one was doing extrajudicial killings. The other one was playing political games. This one will be focused and professional. It will only combat crime. Right. Right.
It won't touch those.
No.
Won't do those.
But there will be no enforced disappearances. If somebody disappears, we are going to announce where they've disappeared to.
All our rivers will be
if somebody has died, we'll do the full investigation and find out what happened to them.
Yeah.
But we will not be involved. We will not be involved in this
completely.
at all. Ours is to fight crime and bring the perpetrators of crime to book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please, let's be very clear what this new unit is about.
And it comes just barely 2 months after the DCI's SSU was disbanded, okay?
And those people have been humiliated in court.
No, they're still being humiliated in court. It hasn't ended. But remember, something that has happened. The deployment is of, should I say, every police unit that exists in the country. DCI, all-female special weapons and tactics, SWAT. We even have a SWAT team here.
An all-female one?
Yes.
Hey, SWAT, like SWAT.
Special weapons and tactics. Yes.
And it's female members.
Yes. The one they've been deployed. General duty officers attached to various police stations will be patrolling the streets, meaning they have opened the doors and said...
They'll be on the beat now.
Yes.
That's the thing.
However, although we are the ones in the media who created that wrong impression that specialized units have been disbanded. It's only one, the SSU, that had been disbanded.
This one notorious
Anti-terrorism
one.
police unit is a specialized, it's an elite unit.
It is.
That is focusing on terrorism.
The Wrecker Squad is also...
Wrecker Squad is a specialized unit of the GSU.
It has not been disbanded?
Yeah, Wrecker Company. Surely. They're
not SSU?
No, SSU is the one that had
SSU is a former
of
flying squad, then it became Special Crimes Prevention Unit, then now it became SSU.
the ones who would get rid of people and then tell the other guys to come and
collect.
clean up.
Okay. So
it's like that.
SSU is back.
Sour.
In short.
Yes.
It'll be called something else.
Yeah.
But it's back.
But it's
back.
Guess who's back?
Back again. At where teachers fighting?
Teachers
There was an
are
issue like
saying...
that. There was a story like that.
Yes, teachers are saying... Look, and we read it yesterday. And then it is also showed up again today. But teachers are saying that this thing of whether junior secondary schools will be in primary schools or they will actually move to high schools, we really need to talk about it, because it's not as easy as we think that come January everybody's just going to show up in school by virtue of the fact that they're going to junior secondary. So they are insisting that as these stakeholders are going around the country, they actually need to do something about it. I'm trying to locate the story, but that is the long and short of it. And they're saying we're not just going to take it like that.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Because if it is in a primary school and we are saying that this is secondary school, are we moving? They're making it more than just a thought or an idea. It has become an issue. And they're saying...
So CNAT and CUPET are fighting.
Yes.
Because CUPET represents post-primary education teachers.
Yes.
Do
you see?
And then
They're
now we're
saying-
going to have secondary teachers
Thank
teaching in primary school.
Thank you very
so
much.
they will not be
So who
post-primary.
Exactly. So how will they be represented? Can we ask that question? You will have post-primary teaching in primary because you're asking that they be domiciled in primary schools, or shall they move to secondary schools? So which one is it? And how does this affect the representation that has been there for years in...
And yes.
Thank you very much.
Page 5 of the Standard.
Thank you. So that's the question. What exactly is going to happen? So as the stakeholders are going through this meeting that will end sometime in December, are they taking these things into consideration? Because they're saying, as you people are just talking, we're not just going to take it like that. So they're calling it a clash over this and also the funding of education. CUPET told the Working Party, now you can see, led by Professor Raphael Monavu, to consider moving junior secondary to high schools, a move that KNUT has said, no thank you.
Okay.
In their presentation, NAT has pushed for the junior secondary school learners to be retained in primary schools. You stay there. However, they want the level of education, grade 7, 8, and 9, renamed as intermediate level or senior primary, not junior secondary.
The word secondary you remove.
It's a problem. No.
Primary.
Primary.
Yeah.
Let it be called...
These guys are post-primary union.
Thank you. Let it be called senior primary or intermediate level. But don't call it secondary. Because we have a problem. Our teachers are not those ones. You get it?
Continue.
Insiders argued that renaming of the new level of education is seen as a way of justifying the retention of those learners in primary schools. If you rename it, you can keep them there. There has been an argument that junior secondary school was meant to be a high school affair, hence the title. It's high school. Okay? CUPET Secretary General...
It's high primary.
High primary. Hey.
Not low secondary.
Not low secondary, no. CUPET Secretary General Akelo Misori, however, argued that the curriculum for junior secondary is designed for secondary school level education, with abstract concepts introduced across subjects which were previously in Form 1. Only secondary schools have human resources, libraries, labs, and more importantly, the culture of secondary school, of junior secondary. Teachers at that level are trained to deal with adolescents whose onset starts at 13, not 11 or 12. Do you get it now?
Yeah.
There we have a problem. Not just the structure of this training for teachers, the structure of the schools and their facilities is made for high school.
That training that
and these teachers
are
trained to deal with 13 and
13
above.
and above, not below.
These teachers cannot deal with
11 and 12 year olds.
That statement is not true.
So, it has tumbled out of his
So
mouth.
this is a column, sorry.
Yeah, but that statement is not entirely true.
Let me tell you what Collins Oyu said. He's the Secretary General of KNUT. He told the task force that there are facilities in primary schools compared to high schools that can be leveraged on to anchor this level of education. So that thing that you're telling us doesn't make sense. There are facilities, there are libraries, they can also be used on that side. He argued that the move would also curb wastage and ease the transition. So why are we having this problem? He said that there is adequate capacities of teachers within high school available in primary schools which can teach the said learners. It's possible. You can still teach them. If you can teach 13 and above, you can teach 13 and below.
Let me tell you.
So I don't understand
if you're trained as a teacher, you can teach.
Thank you. That's what Collins Oyu is saying. Collins Oyu is saying.
And I agree with him.
Akinamisori should not bring this story telling us that we're only able to deal with adolescents 13 and above. That's what our training as post-primary is about. So don't come and tell us as post-primary, we go and teach junior secondary in primary school. It cannot work. Okay? We can't. KNUT is saying stop it. Yes, you can.
I understand ring fencing, and I understand.
You see, the thing is this is just a battle for the membership and subscription.
Yes,
fee.
it is.
This is just it.
Yes, it's not anything else.
So they've told the working party that the teachers
call this thing senior primary.
Yes.
Let it be in primary.
Let it be in primary. Call it senior primary. Do not call it junior secondary and still keep it in primary. If you're calling it secondary, that means you're telling us to go and teach in primary schools, and they don't have the infrastructure, and their children are younger than those that we have been trained for. We are not doing what? We are not boarding.
I think the issue here is not actually from Coopet so much as it is for KNUT. It's for KNUT.
Oh, they've also differed on the funding model, which of course can always be an issue. Coopet suggests an enhancement of capitation at the basic education level to improve learning resources. KNUT, however, observes that teaching in arid and semi-arid land should be considered and given proper incentives for hardship allowance, since different areas require different things. You cannot rate teachers in the central region with a teacher serving in Marsabit and expect them to deliver the same concept equally. We want these teachers to be well facilitated, since the area they are operating in is quite different. He said the government should also consider taking back the nursery school education to the national government. Presently, under the Constitution, early childhood development education is a devolved function under county governments. Basic education starts from ECDE all the way to primary and secondary schools. Pushing them to county governments causes a constitutional crisis. So it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks, because, we can say that the holidays are long, but there are exams that are going on. Three exams will take place between now and January. And then school starts and go back into the normal cycle come the 23rd of January next year. They got to sort this one out in terms of who's going to go where. Will it be called upper primary? Will it be called lower secondary? Will it be domiciled at primary schools?
Will be what? Will be where?
12-year-olds
What?
go
Doing
to
what?
high school? Come on. This is the thing. What's going to happen? Will post-primary school teachers now be forced to teach in primary school?
In that entire discussion, have you read or have you stumbled upon an argument or a discussion that seems to focus on the welfare of the student?
Not at all.
See, that all is discussing welfare of students.
This is all welfare. How they'll be taught, who will teach them, whether they will be in primary school or high school, whether they will be called upper primary.
This is not about we, the teachers. No.
It's actually for the children. It's for the learners.
It is.
This is for the welfare of the learners.
Yes.
Okay. If we are not well taken care of, how on earth will we take care of the learners?
Well, remember, you can get access to some premium content on Standard Insider by subscribing to the Standard Insider. Just go to www.standardmedia.co.ke. Bobea now for just 199 bob and get the monthly offer to get access to all this curated content. Standard Insider is a subscription platform of the Standard newspaper. Good morning, 7 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. President William Ruto has discouraged Kenya Kwanza MPs from introducing amendments to the constitution that will benefit a few, distancing himself from the extended presidential term limit. Ruto said he cannot support it, yet he opposed the BBI, which was pushing for such agenda.
I want to be very clear that as president, I will not participate in mutilating the constitution for purposes of serving selfish personal, parochial interests. The same way we opposed BBI because it was meant to achieve selfish, parochial, personal interests. We will oppose any move to change the constitution. I will be at the front to say no to any change of the constitution, to change term limit, to change things that benefit individuals.
On insecurity that continues to be witnessed across the country, President William Ruto asked the police to be apolitical while discharging their duties. He said they must serve all Kenyans fairly, irrespective of their political or ethnic affiliation. The president was addressing regional police commanders at State House, Nairobi. He said he had decided to make the police financially autonomous so that they can conduct their duties competently. He added that the government will provide the police with modern equipment to help confront insecurity in the country.
We cannot allow criminals to overrun our cities or any part of Kenya. We have given you the instruments, you have the backing of the law to make sure that we deal with criminals firmly, decisively, conclusively, in accordance with the law and the Constitution. If any officer is in danger of criminals, they must use their firearms to deal with the criminals. Musingoje mpaka askari wetu wakauawa na wakora. We must deal with the wakora before they deal with our officers. The police must not engage in matters politics. Don't take political sides. We have enough people to help us with our politics.
And rescue efforts continued into the night at the scene where a 7-story building collapsed at Kasarani 3 days ago. 3 bodies were retrieved and several others people were rescued from the rubble. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja, who visited the area, condemned construction site supervisors who ignored warnings from the National Construction Authority.
Just pull down those buildings yourselves or let us come for you. Because in search for profits, you're endangering lives. How much money can replace the life of those who we have lost? You're using the wrong materials, you're using the wrong building standards. I know this problem has been there for very long. People have said many words. Now that we're in charge, let's not say much, you will see the action. Already we have changed our technical approval committee in Nairobi County. We'll be issuing the new names and we're conducting the investigation. If I find any officer from Nairobi County having been culpable at any point, they will go home and they will be charged.
Sakaja further said that police have launched a manhunt on the developer of the building who will be charged with murder.
This building had an enforcement notice starting from last year and this February. In fact, yesterday, NCA were here, they closed down the site, but the contractor knows that in such cases you just go on and you pay a few people here and there and you go on. So from the county, we're going to take action. Developer must be charged in court. In fact, Waziri, we will liaise with the police and the DCI to find that developer who knows he should not be building a building in this way. The standards of materials are wrong. He did not get any permit from the county. There was an enforcement notice, but because of impunity decided to go on. He needs to be charged with murder because that is murder.
Among the dead is a woman identified as Lucy Wanjiru, who was selling food to the workers in the building. She was initially in contact with the rescue officials using a phone before going quiet, only to be found dead 3 hours later. Lancias Zakaria Njeru visited the scene and had this to say.
Nyumba kama hizi ambazo zinaendelea bila mpango na bila kuwa zimeweza kupewa kibali na the agents ambazo ziko, they should stop forthwith. We are going to take stern action for those who will defy.
Now, Treasury is set to disburse 2 billion shillings every week from next week Monday to finance the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, however, says that the CS Njuguna Ndung'u says the release of the funds will be guided by the Attorney General's office.
Subject to the legal advice from the Office of the Attorney General, the National Treasury commits to disburse Kenya shillings 2 billion to the NG-CDF every week, effective the week starting 21st November 2022. But members may note that there is that proviso on subject to getting an opinion from the Office of the Attorney General.
This is Newsweb. Dennis Asada. Good morning.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
A wet morning in Nairobi means that traffic slows down considerably in a lot of parts this morning. So just to highlight, coming off of Gong Road, you're not going to be able to get through at that Westwood Road. It's been blocked. That trail is still in the streets and it's trying to figure out how to move it. So if you're coming off Gong Road, you will not be able to use it. So we're looking at Gong Road between KCB Leadership Center and Westwood is not moving. The lorry that overturned, and so still some traffic there. So not sure who will be able to. Police officers are on the site to try and sort that out. But it's massive traffic on Gong Road today, and that's what's happening right now. So everybody's asking what's going on Gong Road. That's what's going on. You need to use an alternate route. You have to go round. For now, that's what it looks like. It's heavy on the Thika Superhighway coming into the city. Kiambu Road is also jam-packed, and we're looking at bumper to bumper in both directions, coming then towards Muthaiga Square. It's also heavy on Limuru Road, and we're looking at Western starting to be a nightmare. Coming off James Gishuru, very slow traffic. Then they're connecting with Waiyaki Way, as well as most parts of the CBD in and outbound, whichever way you look. It's that Thursday, guys, and it's getting manic as we get closer and closer to traffic hour. Let's take a look in about half hour or so and see what it looks like. Folks, if you find an alternate route to use this morning, no matter what it is, belt it out. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up.
Good morning and welcome to the second hour of the Situation Room, live on SpiceFM, KTN Home and online, 8 minutes after 7. We're here. We are going to have two guests for this hour. And CT Muga has the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra, from where he is reading today's proverb, which is from Mali.
Yes, one more proverb from Mali. So this is the second last proverb. A canoe does not know who the leader is. When it turns, everyone gets wet.
A canoe does not know who the leader is.
No.
When it turns, and here we basically mean when it capsizes.
When it capsizes,
everyone gets wet.
Everyone gets wet. Pray that the water body that you are rowing on
is shallow.
Pray.
And you can swim.
And
whichever way you can swim.
Yes, preferably shallow and you can swim. Yes.
Where?
And if you have to choose between the two, swim.
Pray that you can swim.
Yes.
Regardless of the depth.
Yes.
Hey. Okay. So we want to talk about World Children's Day, which is commemorated every year on the 20th of November. This year it's going to be on, what day is the 20th? Sunday.
Yes.
Sunday. And we have two guests in the studio. One is Yoko Kobayashi. She's a child protection specialist at UNICEF Kenya. And Trufena Cheminingwa, who is the Assistant Director, Children's Services at the National Council for Children's Services. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. Welcome to the hot seats of the Situation Room. Feel comfortable. Now, we have had a conversation with the National Council for Children's Services before, but Trufena, just bring us up to speed again. What does the National Council for Children's Services do?
Thank you, Eric, for that question. The National Council for Children's Services is established by the the Children Act 2022, and it is one of the agencies that deals with the children, is to regulate the children's sector in the administration of children's services. So it is based at the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection as a regulatory body in children matters.
Okay.
Yes.
And the UN agency, UNICEF, tell us about it, Yoko, and how you come into the conversations about children and children's rights.
Sure, thank you so much. As a UN in general, we are really here to promote and protect human rights. But UNICEF is United Nations Children's Fund, and it's only one UN agency actually mentioned in the Convention on the Rights of the Child, mandated to work with the state parties or the governments around the world to protect and promote children's rights. So we are UN agency mandated to promote children's rights specifically.
So as now, when you are in Kenya, as UNICEF Kenya, how do you work with the Kenyan authorities, the Kenyan law, and, for example, the National Council for Children's Services in advancing the rights of children?
So many ways, Eric, but specifically speaking about the 2022 Children Act that has been enacted in July this year. We are so delighted. We've been working so closely with all the government agencies, but definitely with the National Council of Children's Services, National Council of Administration of Justice, all ministry concerned to support enactment of the Children's Act. First of all, we supported by providing technical assistance and financial support to have a consultant who can draft the 2021 Children's Bill, and also supporting really consultative process all over the countries to get the viewpoints, including children. So there has been a special forum to consult children, including vulnerable children, such as forum to discuss children in the streets connected situations or children with disabilities. So UNICEF has been really at the forefront in support of the government to enact Children Act.
In drafting and then enacting this particular law.
Sure.
It has been hailed as, one of those laws that are advancing the rights of children. Just coming into force this year, there's still a lot of awareness that is needed on that. Even with the children officers, and I just want to come back to you, Trufena, are the children officers across the country aware of the difference between the old Children's Act and the new Children's Act, and then the benefits of it?
Yes, the children officers are aware because during the development of this act, the children officers gave their input and they were heavily involved. But we still have a good plan to ensure that all children officers are sensitized and taken through the act in details, plus all the regulations that are required to operationalize this act. So the children officers are on board, and we have started dissemination of the act to the children officers and other stakeholders in the sector.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the significant difference between the old act and the new act, and what does that actually then mean for the children in the country when we talk about inclusion for every child? What is the significant difference between old and new?
I can go first. Yes, there are many issues that have been brought on board in the new act, and one of them that I can first pinpoint is about the online sexual exploitation. In the old act, the issue of online sexual exploitation was not anchored in the Children Act 2001, but in the current act, it has been provided for, and even the penalties for people who abuse children online. And another issue is about radicalization. In the old act, the issue of radicalization was not mentioned. And another issue is on intersex children. It has now been provided for children who have challenge, who have biological defects have been taken care of, who are called intersex children, and many other issues that have been brought on board in this new act that were not there in the old act. Yes.
Anything else that you want to add on that, Yoko?
Yes, definitely. Just to add, in terms of justice for children, there is a significant kind of enhancement by reducing the age of criminal responsibility from 8 to 12. And that is really a significant improvement. And another aspect when it comes to justice for children is really a whole provision around diversion, so that the children who do not necessarily have to come into contact with the criminal justice systems will be diverted much earlier stage. So it has 3 levels of diversion specifically indicated in this new act. And also in terms of placement of children who are deemed to be in conflict with the law, there is a provision to really emphasize much more on kind of the institutionalization or non-custodial placement of children. And when it comes to promotion of parental care and family-based care, there's also a significant provision around really promoting children to be in the communities and in the family as opposed to institutionalization. As many of us know that under the leadership of NCCS and DCS and the ministry, there was a 10-year, 2022-2032, a national care reform strategy launched this year in June, and it talks about 3 pillars. The first one is really prevention of unnecessary family separation, and the second pillar is promotion of alternative family-based care, and the third one is really gradual deinstitutionalization of children who are currently in the institutions, of course, based on the best interest of the child in the case management process, according to each child. So this Children Act, new act, actually provides quite a lot of provisions and really support towards care reform, meaning gradually moving the care of children from institutionalization to family and community-based care. And lastly, if I may add, it's an area of violence against children. Although it's been prohibited under the Constitution, now this new act explicitly confirms the prohibition of corporal punishment by any person, including parents and teachers in all settings against children. So corporal punishment is explicitly now prohibited in the new act, which is new. And of course, online protection issue, as mentioned, is articulated, and it's really trying to tackle evolving child protection issues in the new act as well.
I'm looking at some of these things, Trifana and Yoko, and saying the act is there. The act is now in place. But then bringing this act to life is then vested in many parts in the children's department, at the judiciary level, when we're looking at children and family courts and things like that. Is the infrastructure at that level, children's department with children officers around the country, the judiciary, family and children's court, is the infrastructure supported enough to make sure then that the act and the new elements of the act that will then be put into practice then are followed to the letter? I ask this because previously we saw issues specifically having to do with children who were institutionalized and their rights and provisions and their justice having not been met because this same infrastructure had not been supported enough. So now with this, there's some clearly explicit things that have been said and that have then been put into law. Do we have enough in terms of a supportive infrastructure to make sure that these things are actioned?
Yes. In the Act, there's a deliberate effort to ensure that children issues are addressed in a multi-sectoral way, For example, we have the children advisory committees at various levels that bring together actors in the sector, so that we have government and non-government actors coming together to address issues of children. So this is a very important structure that would ensure that the efforts that are geared towards protecting children are harnessed and coordinated at various levels. And also in terms of children who are in conflict with the law, we have the CUCs, who are actors in the justice system who come
CUCs?
together.
CUCs, who are they?
CUCs,
Court user committees.
Yes, court users committees, who are brings together actors in the justice system, so that issues to do with the children who are in conflict with the law are addressed as a team, so that if a child is being taken to court, the probation officer report is brought to the committee, and the issues about the child are addressed at that level. So the Act has provided for all those mechanisms to ensure that the child's needs are addressed holistically, as opposed to when actors address issues in isolation and in silos. So I think the Act has tried to do that, so that the child benefits more from this Act.
I completely understand that. But my question is really around the infrastructure on the ground to make sure that these things can actually be. I'm talking about funding. I'm talking about the employment of children officers to make sure that there's adequate representation around the country, to make sure that these things can actually be done. For those children that are institutionalized, and we're saying that we're making a transition from institutionalization then to community and family-based care, is there enough in place to make sure that it actually can be done?
I think this question is so varied, and I think it's a gradual process, and it's for any government to have a registration is the first kind of milestone. And after that, after the Act, of course, the rules and regulation will have to be finalized and gazetted to have an effect. But you're absolutely right in terms of the financial resources and the human resources on the ground to operationalize it. And I think it is the gradual process that's under the leadership of the government, we all, aiming to really support to have impact on the ground. But if I may just add, in the new Act also one interesting aspect and quite promising in a way is that there's a new child welfare fund to be established. So it is to support children in need and in distress, and it's supposed to also include financing for alternative care. So there is that, I think, consciousness also built into the Act, recognizing the need for financial resources to actually start operationalizing some of the provisions in the Act.
Yoko, has any costing been done on what it would actually need to get this new Act functioning as best as it has been designed? So, for example, if you're talking about now increasing the number of children officers, increasing the number of, let's say, even probation officers, if you're moving from institutionalization of children into family and home-based care, they will need to be visited, and therefore you need more boots on the ground, so to speak. If you're talking about this child welfare fund, how much is needed to go into that fund at operationalization stage? How much gradually does it need to be increased? So what is the financial outlay for full and proper realization of this new law?
It's a very good question. I think it's still to be finalized, but there has been quite a lot of homework or groundwork that was done in the process of advocating for enactment of the children's bill. There was also costing exercise done, how what it means to enact this bill in terms of financial implication. So there was a piece of work that was done in support of the Ministry of Gender and Public Service. As a UNICEF, we have also supported child protection systems costing exercise that also include how many children's officers do we need at the county level? How many children officer do we need at the sub-county level? And there's a professional scheme called Child Protection Volunteers who works and reports to sub-county children officers how many of them are in need. And for children officers to adequately go around and provide case management support, outreach support, how much transport do we need? And that kind of costing exercise has been done. And of course, it will need to be updated. And some of the action plans that the government has in place, namely the prevention and response plan on violence against children, as well as recently launched National Plan of Action to tackle OXIA, online child sexual exploitation and abuse. They are all costed. So if we put this all information together in support of operationalization of the Children's Act, I think we will be able to support the government to have a fairly good understanding, better understanding of how much it's cost, and it's actually they need to be translated into advocacy efforts. With the national treasuries and really try to mobilize domestic funds and also vis-a-vis the developmental partner as well.
Then let's start with the present, Trofena. Currently, from the State Department for Social Protection, how much budgetary allocation, for example, in this current financial year, goes to the children protection and child welfare issues?
Yeah, I wouldn't know the exact figures. But I know that we are the ministry is heavily underfunded. We don't have enough children officers. We don't have adequate programs for children in this area. But there is some improvement in a way, because, for example, in the old Act, the council was like a section of the Department of Children's Services, but because of the new act, the mandate of the council has been expanded, and we are hopeful that the budget will also be increased so that the council can operate as it is envisaged in the act. So the budget is not enough. But I believe that it will be improved.
So right now, in the new law, the council is like the regulator of children affairs.
Yes.
And then the Department for Children's Services is the boots on the ground.
The implementer.
Is the implementer of children policies and children programs.
Yes.
So those two need to be properly financed and supported financially and budget-wise, so then children affairs can be properly taken care of.
Yes.
Now, what does the law allow you to get other sources of funding rather than from just the National Treasury?
Yes, the law allows the council to fundraise and get funding from other sources to fund the activities of the council and the stakeholders within the sector. It does. Yes.
You know, there are those who argue, and I would dare say that research findings support the argument that there is a very direct correlation between what we see as the harm that children face and what we may consider societal norms or evolving societal norms and issues that society is grappling with. For instance, in Kenya, we are now discussing the issue of crime and the waves of crime that are on the increase. Before that, we were talking about COVID, and then we've talked about unemployment. Now, the people who are often hardest hit whenever these things occur are women and children. Now, there are state agencies, there are government departments, there are ministries whose function is to not only understand, but to ensure that, for instance, jobs are available or are created, an environment in which these things can thrive. Now, the question I want to ask is threefold. One, what is it that your department does with the support that you receive from partners and people who support you in ensuring that the children understand their rights? That's one. Because it's one thing to have the adults understanding the rights and talking about it, but that they understand what their rights are. second question is there a mechanism, is there a platform, is there a structure within which children can exercise their rights and ensure that they themselves are empowered to actually enjoy these rights and are able to fend off people who would seek to violate these rights? Now, thirdly, the department that you work in falls within a ministry. What do we see as the association or correlation in relationships between the ministry that you're nestled in and other ministries that now take care of the larger picture that I spoke of, in ensuring that the environment in which these children exist is constantly improved? Because if it is improved, I dare say that these issues that we keep dealing with will also be lessened. Yes, I know. Yes.
Start with question number one again.
And it's a question both of you can respond to.
Yeah, child participation is one of the rights for the children. And in this sector, we encourage children to air their views. And we have a Kenya Children Assembly, which is a structure for children, where children come together and elect their officials, and they discuss issues that affect them. And usually they are supposed to meet at least twice in a year. And then they have elections, and they have leaders, and they discuss issues that affect them. So this is a structure that is very important for the children. And we are also encouraging schools to have child rights clubs where children talk about issues that affect them. And this, I believe, would minimize the issue of strikes, because it is a way of children ventilating and having a voice and being heard. So that is about child participation, which is very key, and it is one of the rights in the UNCRC. So what was the other question?
The question that is, you say it's at a national level.
Yes.
Are there plans to devolve it? Or is
Yes,
it already
yes,
devolved?
it is devolved. It is devolved.
It's devolved.
Yes.
That every county.
Yeah, sub-county.
Every sub-county.
Sub-county,
Oh, that's
yeah.
very good.
Yes.
Has it moved to the wards yet?
Not yet, not yet.
Then it isn't fully devolved, is it?
Yes.
Devolution
Yeah.
is counting.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break and then continue the conversation shortly. We are talking about equality and inclusion for every child in Kenya ahead of the World Children's Day that's to be celebrated this Sunday, the 20th of November. Our guests in the studio are Trufena Cheminingwa. She is Assistant Director for Children's Services at the National Council for Children's Services, and Yoko Kobayashi, Child Protection Specialist with UNICEF Kenya. Taking this quick break, we'll be back shortly. Ndu, tell us about the Italian Cuisine Week as we take this break, and then we come back.
Sure, Italian Cuisine Week takes place until the 20th of November. It started on the 10th, and it's a celebration of Italian culture through cuisine around the world. And there's a selection of 8 restaurants around Nairobi where you can go in and order a main, and you will get the classic Italian dessert of tiramisu on the house. And so you try that and come and let us know who has the best tiramisu in Nairobi.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Enjoy Black November with Cold Stone Creamery Kenya. Get 2 Gotta Have It cups and 2 cake slices at only 1,500 Kenya shillings, and other amazing deals for you and your friends this November. Visit any of our stores in Nairobi or Mombasa and enjoy creamy, smooth ice cream and deliciously crafted ice cream cakes. Ice cream is always a great idea.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM.
I know the sun is out in Nairobi at least. As you tembea, be careful. Manchester United are trying to sign anyone. Watch out where your children are. Please hide yourselves.
Sugar and spice. I reached a point where I was suicidal. Things were just going south completely. Something stopped me. Musema, it's God now, my mom's prayers.
Join me, Yolanda Mulo, and DJ Absolute every single weekday from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock. Sugar and Spice, for sugar.
Rain showers continue, temperatures dipping just a little bit in Nairobi, 15 now, highs of 22. We'll see highs of 22 as well in a rainy Nakuru at 16. It's 16 and now raining in Nyeri, highs of 20 and lows of 14. Those sunny conditions in Eldoret have turned to cloudy conditions at 16, highs of 21 and lows of 13. It's also cloudy morning in Mombasa at 26, highs of 30 and lows of 24. And rain showers still coming down in Malindi at 26. We'll go to highs of 30 and lows of 24. It's raining in Kisumu at 20, highs of 26. And we're looking at cloudy conditions in Kakamega at 19, going to highs of 24 and lows of 16. Kampala is raining at 18, highs of 25, and we'll see highs of 31. In a rainy Dar es Salaam at 26. It's 19 and cloudy in Johannesburg, highs of 28 and lows of 17. While it's raining in Lagos now at 26, highs of 32 and lows of 26. We'll see lows of 23 in a mostly clear Kinshasa at 24, and it'll go to highs of 28.
Spice up your life.
Yikes, it looks like a crazy morning today. So, the Kenha decided to dig up parts of the road overnight at the Mara Mall this morning, right? So turning towards the city is an absolute nightmare. We've got traffic on Mombasa Road inbound. We've got traffic on Mombasa Road outbound, and that construction is taking place. So it looks like it's going to be that way for some time. So if you're way in Syokimau wondering what's going on, or if you're on the other side of Mombasa Road coming inbound and you're wondering what's going on, that's what's happening, and it's absolutely messy. And we're looking at that Gong Road issue, still an issue because that lorry is yet to be moved, and so with heavy traffic coming into the city, coming off Gong Road this morning. The Thika Superhighway is not guest to the party either, because it's still quite heavy on the Thika Superhighway coming into the city. We're going to look at heavy traffic situations this morning, and the rain is coming down. The roads are slippery. Please be careful. We've had a number of accidents. Let's not increase the count. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Talk to us there. Let's try to keep things moving while safe.
Everything nice. Everything nice.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94 point.
Continues in the Situation Room. Your hosts Eric Latif, Ndu Okosi Timuga, and our guests this morning, Yoko Kobayashi, Child Protection Specialist from UNICEF Kenya, and Trofena Chemeningwa, Assistant Director for Children's Services at the National Council for Children's Services. We're talking about equality and inclusion for every child ahead of the World Children's Day, has to be celebrated this Sunday. CT, question number 1B of 6.
My questions were essentially this. We have a new act, but operationalizing the act requires the things that we've discussed. There's a background, there's an environment, there's an ecosystem within which the children function and operate. Now, your department is in a ministry. What is it that that ministry does to collaborate with other ministries who have perhaps a broader spectrum or deal with other issues that are societal? Because whatever impacts on the society at large has a direct bearing on the children. This was really my point. And the harm that we talk about, that we seek to prevent, arises from the things that we already see. As I said, we're talking about crime waves in Nairobi. We're talking about the impact of COVID and how it has brought about unemployment. And I said, whenever you talk about all these matters, the people who often face a direct hit are women and children. And since here we're talking about children, I'm asking the question, what structure exists so that there is cooperation? You do your bit, the others do their bit. And then I added a tail end to it, and I said, look, it's all good and well for children, for us to have this act and for the adults to know what the act is. How do we take the time and the effort to ensure that children also know and understand these rights? How can they exercise them? And while we were on the break, I had the question, okay, one of the best ways in getting children to understand this is to ensure that these rights are part and parcel of their education. The Kenya Institute for Curriculum Development, I'm sure UNICEF is very big on education. There's no question about it. How have we gone about ensuring that this happens so that when we talk about the act, the people for whom it is intended also have the same understanding and knowledge as those who have enacted it?
Yoko, you want to go first?
Yes, sure. I mean, it's an excellent question. And I just want to also clarify before even attempt to answer this. When we talk about child participation, it's not only about children participating in the events. If we really look at carefully, Article 12 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, it's the right to be heard. Right to be heard in the matters that affect their lives. So the number one step, as you rightly mentioned, is for children to know what their rights are, because for them to gain that understanding. And then in the process, we should be really listening to them and take their views into account of what we do or what we decide to do in accordance with their age, maturities, and evolving capacity. So having said that, I really like your questions, and I think it's an excellent and important point. Children definitely need to know what their rights are. In the new Children's Act, in the past, what I can say is, in support of the government, whenever we have national plan, for example, national plans on violence against children, to address violence against children, we always have a child-friendly version that is a digested version that is easier for children to read and try to disseminate. But these efforts will have to be strengthened. And as you mentioned, to make it in the standardized mainstream way of reaching out to children is make it as part of competency-based curriculum through the KICD, the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, through the Ministry of Education, through the Children's Club, Child Rights Club across the country. So all efforts by different ministry has to be made so that children become, first of all, aware of their rights. And then we all be very cognizant of, when we talk about child participation rights, it's about really listening and taking that view into consideration of what we do.
Yeah, and the Act has allowed the children to report cases to the children officer, or even go to court. The court system is very friendly to children, and it allows children to move to court and present their issues. So I think the Act is very friendly in that way, and we are very happy with the provisions of this Act. And it has also provided for free legal aid in the Act for children who, for one reason or the other, may have to go to court. Maybe their parents have issues, or the children are in conflict with the law. The law allows them to have free legal aid. Yes.
Right there.
Yes.
The same issues that Ndu asked regarding funding,
yes,
will hit us smack in the face. Because our Constitution and the Legal Aid Act says the very things you're saying.
Yes.
But it's not funded. It is funded a little bit.
Yes.
It is not funded.
Because free as it would be for the beneficiary,
yes,
the person who's offering the service does not necessarily have to offer it for free.
Yes.
And these are the lawyers. It's not that the lawyers have been told by law that you must practice for free.
No.
The free legal service will be extended to the child. But who's paying for it?
This one will be funded by it is supposed to be funded by the judiciary, because has been provided for in the new Act. Yes.
There's again a conundrum here, in that if you look at, for instance, when you talk about the acts and what they state, the office of the DPP was not supposed to act alone, for instance.
Yes.
There was supposed to be that aspect of what we call a public defender. Okay? Now, that's where the legal act that we speak of, and that free service was supposed to exist. Okay?
Yes.
But it's in the law. That's it. Enactment, funding. Look at the movement of my hand.
Yes.
Yes. So that is why the issues regarding the collaboration and cooperation between departments and ministries becomes pertinent.
Yes.
Because yes, when we ask these questions, it's because we know of many things that are in the law, thoughts, wonderful thoughts that went into creating certain things that are supposed to benefit the citizenry, and yet some haven't been enacted, so it can't benefit anyone. Some exist, haven't been funded, so once again, they're handicapped even before they start. So it puts a department like yours in jeopardy. Now, in the absence of partners, like say UNICEF, one actually begins to wonder, how would you actually be able to move? What would you actually be able to do?
Actually, in this sector, we work in most of the programs are funded by the
development partners.
Yes, it is very collaborative, and I think it is proper to say that we rely on each other to have the rights of the children realized in this sector, and we are working with these partners, especially UNICEF and the other CSOs, to fund most of these programs for children. But government also has invested a lot in this sector, and we only hope that it will get better and the funding will increase.
Allow me to just vent, and I just want to rant, okay?
Yes.
And this rant is not directed at the National Council for Children's Services or to partners like UNICEF. It's just basically directed at government and our attitude as the people. We talk about this many times, CT. Our health sector is heavily funded externally.
Yes, it is.
Our children programs are heavily funded externally. The most vulnerable people at a point in our population are actually getting support externally. And yet we have a budget that is 3 trillion shillings and growing, definitely. What does that say about us? If we get to a point where we're saying the children programs and children awareness and protection of children's rights and supporting children, at the point where a child needs to be supported, they're vulnerable. There's a breakdown somewhere in the family and the family system. There's something wrong. At that point when a child is vulnerable, if we cannot put a budget that will be able to support a child at that point, and we depend on UNICEF and other well-wishers to be the ones who support our child at that point, what are we talking about?
And we are a sovereign nation.
Yeah. End of rant.
Well, I mean, look, just bouncing off of that is that you say that the true picture of any nation is the state of the most vulnerable at any time. And that is the true picture of the nation. It doesn't matter whether we're looking at drought today, whether we're looking at the state of children, whether we're looking at the state of education. That's the true picture of the nation. Now, I want to go back to these rights that we talk about, especially now children being in court. We've seen in the last 12 months, more and more cases than when it comes to the protection of children in the event that their parents are no longer in a unit. And then, of course, custody battles come into play. Upkeep of these children also come into play. Is there a provision in the new act that the child and their welfare then will be sovereign when it comes to these disputes then that ought to be settled between partners? Where is the protection for children there? Because oftentimes we find that, you know, children are caught in this limbo when these two individuals are fighting. The welfare and upkeep of this child, the custody of the same child also is put in jeopardy. Does the new act address this?
Yes, it does. Because in the old act, maybe we did not mention it, is that parental responsibility was based on if both parents were married to each other. But in the current act, whether you are married to each other or not, you have equal parental responsibility. And therefore, if these two parents have issues, they would go to court and they can agree on how to share parental responsibility. And in the new act, you can agree on how to share the parental responsibility based on your ability. Yes, and usually children matters are not decided by the magistrate in alone. Usually the magistrate would call for the children officer's report so that the issues, the welfare of the child is taken care of. For example, maybe where the child will live, who will take care of the maybe clothing, food, and all that for the child. So the report from the children officer is usually very important when deciding matters to do with the children. Yes.
Where do these reports also, because I think there's a graduation in terms of levels of the issues that we see. One of the things that you've talked about also is violence. We've talked about sexual abuse of young children. Before, it used to be an issue that affected mostly females, but now we are seeing that the boy child also then is in danger. We've also seen that when it comes to the settlement of a dispute, or when it comes to the protection of a child, in the event that a child has been abused sexually, that there usually is an agreement then between the abuser and the abused family coming in and asking for, well, let's settle this. When the courts or any other kind of mediation or arbitration comes in to be able to sort it out, whose welfare, and again, according to the Act, whose welfare is paramount here? Is it the family who's looking for an extra token so that they forget that this child has been abused? Or is it the child and their welfare that is topmost in terms of priority for protection? And this is coming back to that initial question of how and what infrastructure do we have in place, whether there are social issues, which in some cases may be subjective or objective. Do we have the infrastructure in place to make sure that these things are taken care of? If a child is abused, for example, and the perpetrator is coming to the family and saying, well, let's have a discussion, is the welfare of that child really being taken into consideration? Adequacy, is it there with that example?
No, the best interest of the child is paramount. Because if a case has been reported to a children officer, for example, and it's a case of abuse or violence on the child, it is unlikely that a case like that would be decided like the one family is coming to ask that the case is settled out of the legal process. So usually a case like that would go through the legal process, the usual legal process where you get a P3 and you process the case, and the children officer would give a report. And I would say that when the children officer is making the report, the best interest of the child will be paramount. Yes, not the families who are involved in the abuse. Yes.
You know something which must be said. The department to which you belong, we fully understand just how much you do with the little you get. And we also understand the constraints and the limitations that you have, and that given what you get with the help of the partners, what you achieve is monumental. So let me ask the question. How can we in the media help you?
Yeah, the media would help the Department of Children's Services by highlighting the issues that affect children and the challenges that the Children Department is facing. For example, the issue of funding and the issue of the staff who are not enough in the sub-counties and even at the ward level. It is our desire that we would have children officers at all levels so that children issues are addressed at that level. Yes. So the media would come in that way.
Yoko.
Yes. Just want to come back to the issue of best interest of the child. It's also very much highlighted in the New Children Act, and that is in line with the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. That has 4 core principles. The best interest of the child being one of the key principles. Just to note, and if I may also come in, how media help. Because I think prevention is so important, and sometimes prevention doesn't cost money, and it starts within the family. And as we know from the 2019 Violence Against Children survey that was carried out by the Kenyan government, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics with the partners, it shows 46% of girls and 56% of boys have been affected by some forms of violence, whether it's physical, sexual, or emotional. But most common violence that children are affected in Kenya today are physical violence taking place in a family setting, unfortunately at the hands of caregivers and the parents, and the corporal punishments taking place within the household, affecting nearly half of the children. So when we have these statistics, by raising awareness among caregivers, the parents, how to positively manage children's behaviors and not to resort to violent discipline, whether it's physical, corporal punishment, or psychological aggression by calling them names and really affecting their self-esteem. It's one of the root cause of so many problems that the children go through if they have to live in a family environment like that from early age. So really raising awareness among parents and caregivers and promoting how best they can positively manage their children's behaviors and providing nurturing care. That's one thing I believe media can greatly support.
It's huge, as you say that, Yoko, because I just think that, I think that it would take a dramatic and complete overhaul of the thinking of the majority of people in society and community today. To have the understanding that the things you say to a child who essentially is working with a blank canvas in terms of socialization, that the things you say or the way in which you treat that child matters for life. Very rarely do people have that kind of thinking in mind. The way you treat a child today matters then how they will grow up in the future and how they will operate in society. We rarely make the linkages between how we see an adult behaving today and the processes that they went through as a child, whether we're talking about how you spoke to them, how you treated them, whether you did or did not abuse them, whether you did or did not punish them in a way that was going to scar them for life. So even as we talk about awareness and building this, it looks like something that has to be far much deeper entrenched than just having, surface level conversations. That there must be a complete overhaul of the thinking.
Of people. As we conclude the conversation, I just want to ask you, Yoko, we are celebrating World Children's Day on Sunday. So are there any activities planned in the build-up to this? What's happening on Sunday itself, or what's happening maybe today, tomorrow, Saturday? Anything?
Yes, would you like to say? Tomorrow?
Yeah, actually the day we are celebrating the day on 18th, not 20th.
Okay.
Usually it is celebrated on 20th, but because it is coming on 20th is Sunday, we decided that we celebrate it on 18th. So it will be tomorrow, Friday, at KICC, where we shall be celebrating World Children's Day. Yes. And this year we don't have build-up activities. We only have the celebration, which is tomorrow on 18th.
Okay.
Yes.
Ladies, we thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you for highlighting and all the work that you've done in even just coming up with this new law that changes the way we treat children in all stages of life as a child. We thank you very much for that, and we wish you all the best as you celebrate World Children's Day tomorrow for Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Trofena Cheminingo is the Assistant Director for Children's Services at the National Council for Children's Services, and Yoko Kobayashi is a Child Protection Specialist at UNICEF Kenya. They've been here with us talking about equality and inclusion for every child ahead of World Children Day. Keep it here for more conversations. Coming up, Uganda Opposition Leader Dr. Kizza Besigye. Good morning. It's 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswam Dennis Aseto. Now, the National Assembly Clerk Samuel Njoroge and his Senate counterpart Jeremiah Ngenye gazetted today as the day MPs will elect representatives to Yala. Azimio settled on Winnie Odinga, Suleiman Shabal, Timothy Bosire, Justice Kizito, Kennedy Musyoka, Jeremiah Kioni, and Kanini Kega. Kenya Kwanza has 5 nominees who include Hassan Omar, Zipporah Kering, David Sankok, Fred Muteti, and Falhada Deko. We have focused our cameras and reporters at Parliament buildings as we follow up on this developing story and be sure that we'll be bringing you the very latest in a subsequent news bulletin. Now, Treasury is set to disburse 2 billion shillings every week from next week, Monday, to finance the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Majority Leader Kipani Shunga, however, says that CS Njuguna Ndungu says the release of the funds will be guided by the Attorney General's office.
Subject to the legal advice from the Office of the Attorney General, the National Treasury commits to disburse Kenya shillings 2 billion to the NG-CDF every week, effective the week starting 21st November 2022. But members may note that there is that proviso on subject to getting an opinion from the Office of the Attorney General. And Honorable Speaker, I do not want to dwell on that subject a lot because we have had discussions outside this plenary, Honorable Speaker.
MPs Jeanette Mohammed and nominated MP John Mbadi have expressed dissatisfaction with Njuguna's response, terming it as unbelievable.
This new government of Kenya Kwanza, if they have no money to fund the CD, let them just say we have no money, we are broke. Instead of telling us, oh, it's the court, is there. I want Parliament to summon the Attorney General, to summon all people in the executive who are dealing with the NG-CDF, so that we can face them on the eye and tell them that Kenyans are suffering.
Treasury has no reason at all, zero at all, Majority Leader, to delay up to today. There is no reason. Let them release funds and let them not talk about 2 billion. Let them accumulate all the 2 billions per week from July 1st up to today, get the total amount. If it is less than 44, let them release that percentage. If it is beyond 44, we are not asking for more than 44 billion. Let them release 44 billion, which they have been accumulating from 1st of July when the government of Kenya started collecting money for 2022-2023 financial year.
Now, former President Uhuru Kenyatta has made a passionate appeal to the international community and humanitarian agencies to move with speed and end human suffering in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The EAC facilitator says the unfolding dreadful humanitarian crisis in and around Goma is making it virtually impossible for him to fully realize the potential of his role when the fighting and the whole displacement of towns and villages is ongoing. Uhuru made an official visit to Goma, where he decried the misery and the cycle of conflict by armed groups that he says has been inflicted on innocent men, women, children, and the elderly. He further called on armed groups to lay down their weapons and dialogue in search of lasting peace.
We have not come here with any particular mindset to dictate what should happen, but rather in the spirit of our understanding and the mandate that has been given to us. We came here to listen to the people of the Congo, because our job is not to tell them what they need to do, but just to help facilitate and bring peace amongst the different parties. We have had that opportunity and we have heard a lot, and we're looking forward. And the message that we have is that all groups who currently bear arms should lay those arms down and choose the path of peace through dialogue, because there is nothing that can be gained through the barrel of a gun.
The violence has since led to the displacement of millions of people in eastern DRC. This as the second batch of troops from Kenya deployed to fight M23 rebels in DRC left the country. Chief of Defence Forces General Robert Kiboshi saw them off at JKIA and urged them to remember their joint mission with other EAC states to enforce peace. He further asked them to obey the law of the land they are deployed to. And Shine for Hope for Communities founder and CEO Kennedy Odede issued a check of 866,000 shillings to support smart agriculture, being spearheaded by community members in Kilifi County. Speaking to over 2,000 urban network members in Kiwandani Ward in Kilifi North Sub-County, Odede said he was committed to supporting smart agriculture in rural areas to address growing food insecurity. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Asseto. Good morning.
Okay, so of swimming pools and what used to be roads, that's what we're dealing with this morning. And unfortunately, we're adding one other accident to this. Outer Ring at the Donholm overpass, another accident is going to slow things down considerably because they're coming out of Outer Ring. There has been some traffic and trying to get out towards the thicker superhighway. We're looking at now outbound traffic that has built up quite some. Lusaka Road, Swimming Pool, Kiambu Road, Akuna Kusonga is what we're being told right now. It's not moving as you're trying to get towards Muthaiga Square. Slow movement in some parts, no movement at all. Gong Road still having that problem, and you know what happens, that it hit us earlier, and we're going to continue seeing heavy traffic. Raila Odinga Way, Langata Road, going out towards the Huru Highway and into the city, quite some traffic. Landis and that whole circuit, traffic, and some more traffic. Let's keep an eye on things and see what happens in a short while. Let us know where you find an alternate route, because that's what we're looking for this morning. SpiceFM, KE on Twitter.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
It is
the only way to start
Good
your
morning
day.
and welcome to the third hour of Kenya's biggest conversation. This is a Situation Room. We broadcast every weekday morning from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and we are live on SpiceFM, on KTN Home, and we are also live online on all our social media platforms, SpiceFM KE on YouTube and also SpiceFM KE on Facebook. That's where we are. Ndu?
Yes.
So you've been doing the thing with your Samsung Galaxy buds.
Yes. My Buds 2 specifically.
The
and
Buds 2 Pro.
Yeah, so music is one of my things. So being able to be immersed in the sounds of music is what these buds allows you to do. And at the same time, it shuts out all of this other noise, which is also a thing that we should be doing in our lives anyway. But it allows you to do that, shuts out all this other noise. You can have these meetings. All you need to do is double tap, pick up a phone call, and you double tap and end the call as well. Continue with your music, have your meetings. Those buds are something else, I'm telling you. Takes you to another world. Samsung is on the money with those. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's the 17th day of November. We're counting down to the 19th day of November, where what happens? Jimmy Garth will be taking people on full bus load to all the way in Ngong. Olive Limited are selling these beautiful pieces of land, and this is in Ngong, and all we need you to do is basically just accept to accompany Jimmy on this beautiful trip. So you can go and buy this piece of land. Yep. And we were talking about it yesterday with Peter, who is the director of Olive Limited. And yes, it's an area that is really developing. It's an area that is due to grow because of the infrastructural development that's happening there. Already, the road between Ngong and Suswa is under construction. It's all tarmac. And we're talking about just 20 minutes from Ngong town. All Naserian Ridge Phase 3. Properties on sale, 50 by 100 acre piece of land at 650,000 shillings. And if you go with Jimmy Gathu and you find that there is actually this piece of land you want to buy, you can book and you get a 20,000 shillings discount immediately. Hapo. What you need to do is go to olivelimited.com. That's olivelimited.com. And if you want to book your space on the bus, we just need 2,000 shillings. Pay bill number 4068347. That's pay bill 4068347. The account number is your ID. You'll accompany Jimmy Gathu to go to Naserian Ridge, Phase 3, in Ngong, and you will see this property. We have a guest in the studio, and this is Dr. Kizza Besigye, Uganda politician. He's here with us. Before we welcome him, let him hear the day's proverb from CT, who is this time reading it from his Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4.
The proverb is from Mali. I am merely reading the proverb from Mali.
Okay.
So do not assume for a single second that it is my proverb. It isn't my proverb.
And you're not in Mali?
I am not in Mali.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Angola is a beautiful country, though. A canoe does not know who the leader is. When it turns, everyone gets wet. I think turn here means when it capsizes. Yes.
A canoe does not know who the leader is.
No.
When it capsizes, everyone gets wet.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yes.
Dr. Kizza Besigye, good morning and welcome to Kenya's Biggest Conversation.
Thank you very much, and a very good morning. Sorry, it's a great pleasure to be here in Nairobi. And good morning to all the SpiceFM listeners, wherever you are joining us from.
Karibu sana. That proverb from Mali, when you hear it, what's your interpretation of it? A canoe does not know a leader. When it capsizes, everyone gets wet.
Yes, it's the other way of saying we are in the same boat. So if the boat is leaking, you can't say I'm in the drier part because
we are all together in this.
Because if it sinks, you all go down.
So what is it? What were the Malians trying to say? That we should
look after each other. Take each other's interest into account. We all have the same aspirations, same objectives, and be fair. Be fair to each other. I think that's what it must have.
Indeed. You're one of the leaders of Uganda, and also by extension, because of your seniority in politics, and all one of the leaders in East Africa. Now let's start with the politics of Uganda, and then we come to the region. So far, you've participated in elections before, you've participated in campaigning and championing for deeper entrenchment of democracy, better openness and participation of all this in your country. Today, as we speak, Dr. Besigye, would you say that Uganda has experienced better growth in democracy, in inclusivity, in becoming a more open society?
Quite the opposite, actually, and regrettably. Because you see, and it's sad for not just Uganda, but for, I think, the greater part of Africa, that, with all the kinds of endowments that God, gave us, we still grapple with the levels of suffering of the population that we experience, not just in Uganda, but in the whole region. We were at the same level of development with countries like South Korea, at the time of independence. They are now in a totally different world from us. And this is simply because of the type of political direction, the political management that our countries have faced. Now, in Uganda, we were celebrating 60 years of independence last month. And in all these 60 years, no leader has ever handed over power to another. Every leader has been bombed out of office. No leader has ever, left peacefully. Similarly, of course, whoever has occupied the highest office in Uganda has bombed his way into office. Which precisely means that the people of Uganda do not have the capacity to raise one of them to leadership or to say, stop here, get out and we put in another one. In other words, the population is irrelevant in terms of managing their own affairs. They have no voice. And so if you cannot influence what goes on in your country, if you cannot determine priorities, then you obviously get into the kinds of troubles that we have got. And of course, in order to silence the voices of all these people who, want the best, obviously, like the rest of the people in the world, and try to agitate for changes in their country, then you deal with human rights abuses. And I'm sure you know that Uganda has had one of the poorest record in terms of human rights abuses. That's why, in fact, some of us, I did not start off to become a politician myself. I was a medical worker. I trained as a medical doctor. And that's what I had interest in doing in my life. That was very rudely interrupted following the 1980 elections, simply because I was not in the politics, but I just supported a new party that had just formed, which was led by now President Museveni. And of course, that election did not end well of 1980, because the military commission, which was in charge of the country at the time, overthrew the electoral process. Just as the results were coming in, the electoral commission was sacked, and all the power of the commission reverted to the chair of the military commission, who then announced whatever he wanted. And that is what prompted Museveni, who had been a candidate, to start a bush war. Now, those of us like me who did not know anything about the bush war and whatever they were planning, I was arrested, tortured very badly. Many people I found in prison whom I didn't know also, or that had been arrested, have never been seen again, And that's how I fled and came into Kenya. In 1981, I was in Nairobi here working at the Aga Khan, at the Kenyatta National Hospital. But, annoyed that I could have died for absolutely no reason.
Nothing that you had actually done.
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
But looking back in let's talk about the last 30 years or so.
Yes.
I want to ask the question then systematically. Number one, Uganda has a constitution.
Yes.
Is Uganda a constitutional democracy?
Absolutely not. Because a constitutional democracy is not having a constitution, but having a constitutionalism. Having the rule of law, indeed respecting that constitution and the laws that flow from it. And that is exactly what we don't have.
Examples?
There are tons of examples. I mean, I can use myself as one of the examples. I have been arrested and detained and treated in all kinds of terrible ways, and sometimes produced in court, sometimes not produced in court, countless times, you know. Not once have I ever had to defend myself against any case. They are all patently trumped up that, you know, they cannot go to trial, including capital offenses, for which I've spent quite a bit of time in jail. You know, treason, rape, terrorism, illegal possession of guns that have, you know. So if, you know, you have the abuse, and in one of the cases, we were charged 22. We were given bail. The military stormed the courts, beat up everybody in court, and rearrested those that the courts had just released on bail. Took them to different parts of the country and charged them with murder of people that have never lived. So when we talk about the absence of the rule of law, that's what it means. You know, in fact, on that occasion, the entire judiciary laid down their tools because they said, now we are.
This is a direct violation.
This is now become too much. You may have seen at some stage when there was going to be a debate on the removal of age limit that was part of the Constitution, an important part of the Constitution. Security forces entered the Parliament, the House of Parliament, and beat up MPs. Some of the MPs were maimed. You know, there is an MP called Betty Namboze who has metals holding her spinal cord, the vertebrae, broken in that attack. The Speaker of Parliament, at that time was called Rebecca Kadaga, wrote to Mr. Museveni, the president, said, I am the Speaker of Parliament. I did not invite anybody to come into Parliament. Who are these people that came into Parliament and beat up MPs?
Right.
There has never been a reply. So if you have the judiciary that can be attacked by the armed people with impunity, none of the people that attacked the judiciary ever faced any, sanctions. None of the people that attacked Parliament and injured members of Parliament has been sanctioned in any form or manner. So it means you have no Parliament. It means you have no judiciary. and so this is why, you cannot talk about constitutional governance because government is built on the three arms: the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive.
So then can you really talk, Dr. Besigye, then about the relevance of the people when it would appear as though the constitutional power of the people has clearly been usurped? Do they have a choice then in what they would then be able to do?
Absolutely not. That's the point. That's where I started. That if in 60 years they have never brought a leader to office, those people of Uganda, they have never removed anybody from office, how can you say they have influence and power in determining how things happen in their country?
But then someone would argue, Dr. that they have voted to retain the current president in office.
Yes, so the question is, what is the nature of those elections? Because as you know, I have been a candidate 4 times. In 2001 and 2006, I challenged the outcome. In 2006, that's when I was nominated from the maximum security prison, where I had been charged with a whole range of capital offenses. And campaigned for I think it was less than a month, while on trial. Even the little time when I was out on bail, I was being tried for rape throughout the course of the election. But the outcome of those elections, we put them to test before the courts, the Supreme Court, in 2001 and 2006. And in all the grounds of our petition, they were proved. They were confirmed by all the judges without exception. There was a quorum of 5 judges in 2001. There was a quorum of 7 judges in 2006. All of them, without exception, confirmed the violations that we petitioned to court. And all of them conclusively said this election was not free or fair. But there is a very ridiculous provision in the Presidential Elections Act that says that even when all those findings have been made, each judge then makes a subjective assessment as to whether all that has been found affected the outcome of the election in a substantial manner. And substantial is subjective.
Sure.
And it was only on that
account. So they say that there are violations in the election.
And even unanimously agreed that the election was not free or fair.
But it was not to an extent of affecting the outcome.
And it even that ruling contradicted the Constitution, actually, because the Constitution categorically says that the people of Uganda shall have the power to choose who shall govern and how they will be governed through a free and fair election. No other means, no other election is provided for in the Constitution except a free and fair one. But here were people who had already ruled unanimously that the election was not free or fair. But
still,
of course, they were not all. I mean, to be fair to those who ruled eventually fairly, the court divided in half. In the 2001 election, there were 3-2. In the 2006 election, there were 4-3 judges separating. And even how those 3 or 4 judged to uphold the election has been written on by one of the retired judges who formed part of that quorum. And it's an interesting read, Justice George Kanyeihamba has written to show how the hands of those who ruled to uphold the elections were eventually, twisted to come to that, by the president to come to that ruling. So, having elections and people making decisions that are reflected through those elections are totally different matters. In fact, it is for the same reason. And the person who should never make that argument is Museveni himself, because he started a war following an election. So, and in his case, he didn't even test the election in the court. He disagreed with the election and picked up guns and fought. And we agreed with him, that the election was patently fraud, because like I have said, you cannot have an election where the electoral body that has organized the election is sacked before the announcement of the results. And you still maintain the election. And this is, so we have a situation in Uganda today that should worry every not just Ugandan, but every person that believes in a democratic governance should be worried.
What is a and this is the thing, the way the world conversations are shifting now, Dr. Besigye, is that and then taking on a different persona is what each sovereign entity, as nations then, should be able to define, describe, practice what their own democracy ought to be. Do you agree with that? Are there rules then that can be rewritten within the tenets of democracy that each country can then follow, that each nation state then can actually follow on their own? What works for them?
You see, the tenets that constitute democratic governance are universal. Like freedoms. Freedoms are universal. Rights are universal. And that is the basis on which democratic governance is built, that people, first of all, are all equal before the law. They have an equal voice, and that voice should be freely expressed, and that they can exercise those rights. You cannot say and I think it's okay if the people of a country said that for us we want to be governed by an absolute monarch. If for example I don't begrudge areas where you have monarchies, and people are comfortable that
that's how they want to be governed.
That's how they want to be governed. But you cannot call that democratic governance because the people
it's a monarchy.
it's a monarchy. So democratic governance means that we are all equal before the law, and that we all have equal say on how we are governed and who governs. We have an equal say. We have one person, one vote. And that the bodies, the institutions of state are independent, that they can and follow the law scrupulously. And so in our situations, what happens is that, and why we have been, in our case, talking about transition to that democratic dispensation, is that, you need to look at how all these countries were formed. First of all, Africa is, I think, one of the most unfortunate parts of the world where we have countries that we had no say in their formation. Countries were artificially formed by other people, and we were conscripted into them. And then we struggled to own those countries. So we started from a position of not being citizens, but of being subjects of other people, of the powers that had dominated our countries. And in the case, so we have control of power by force as the starting point of all our countries, that those with coercive power hold political power. And the transition we are looking for is for that power that is held by coercive instruments, people who have the power of forcing others to do their will, to relinquish power to the whole population to be exercised equally. That is the struggle that is at hand for all African countries. Some have progressed quite effectively towards that. Others have not.
Others are still struggling to get
Others are still way back, but we are all on that struggle. Our starting point was colonial domination, where as I have said, even the countries themselves were formed without our influence, and controlled by force. And even after independence, the force of the colonial power remained controlling the politics now under some African leaderships. And so the process of democratization, of subordinating
All right, I want to take a break.
Of subordinating the armed is what is going on in Uganda.
When we come back from the break, we continue the conversation. Dr. Kizza Besigye, Uganda opposition leader, is our guest this morning in the Situation Room. We are talking about the fight for democracy in regional politics. And as we take this break, have you found out about Naserian Ridge Phase 3? If you'd like to get more information, please call 0704 30 30 30, 0704 30 30 30. Find out about Naserian Ridge Phase 3. Some beautiful development coming up in Ngong. This is just about 15 kilometers or 20 minutes from Ngong town as you head towards Suswa on the newly built, newly tarmacked Ngong Suswa Road. Freehold title deed, beacons, availability to water and power and all the others. If you'd like to get more information, like I've said, 0704 30 30 30. And also, you can join the bus with Jimmy Gathu this Saturday to go and see the development where it is. Just book with 2,000 shillings on paybill number 4068347. That's paybill 4068347. And at account number, put your ID.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The adults in the room.
I've seen some marriages, relationships, cohabitings struggle because there was no independence of the relationship.
It needs a certain level of intelligence. You need to reach a place where you know yourself, and again, you're not feeding off society.
Whether it is matters of the heart, finances, or work that's weighing on your mind, worry not.
Tune into Adults in the Room every Monday to Friday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
The adults in the room will help you stay winning. Only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Nairobi at 16, highs of 22. And we'll see highs of 22 as well in a rainy Nakuru at 17. It's 17 and rainy in Nyeri, highs of 20, and we'll see highs of 21 in a mostly cloudy Eldoret at 16. Cloudy conditions at 27 in Mombasa, highs of 30, and we'll see highs of 30 as well in a rainy Malindi at 25. It's raining in Kisumu, highs of 26, and we'll see highs of 24 in a cloudy Kakamega at 19. Rain showers continue in Kampala at 20, highs of 25, and 31 will be the high in and now rainy Dar es Salaam at 27. It's 21 and sunny in Johannesburg, highs of 28 and lows of 18, and mostly clear at 26 in Lagos, going to highs of 32. We'll see highs of 28 in Kinshasa, where it's raining at 24.
Welcome to Spice FM, the best exclusive radio station bringing you the best mix of the best music ever.
All right, so wherever you're looking this morning, the Thika Superhighway, Mombasa Road, Outer Ring, going then towards Gong Road and coming out of Westlands, the traffic situation is quite messy. It's bumper to bumper on Kiambu Road and it's not moving. And inches is what we've looked at in many, many minutes. Coming out towards Muthaiga Square. Coming out of Westlands is crazy as well. James Gishuru, then coming up from Great Lavington, Gitanga Road and Gong Road, which started off very early with a lot of traffic this morning. So this is one to contend with, and it's going to be very slow for most parts of the morning as the rain keeps coming down. Jogo Road, heavy traffic going towards Landis, going in the other direction of Lusaka as well. Where have you found a reprieve this morning? Let us know. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
We'll continue our conversation with Dr. Kizza Besigye, Uganda opposition leader, right here in the Situation Room on KTN Home, on Spice FM and online. Still talking about the politics in Uganda. We also talk about the place and role that Uganda is playing and ought to play in the development of the region, whether it comes to peace, security, and also in democracy. We'll go into a conversation about, the East African mission in the DRC as well. City?
Yes. Dr. Besije, you mentioned that you agreed with President Museveni's position that the election that was held during the time when General Tito was the president was not what it should be, and you supported the move that was made then. Your association with President Museveni was not just cordial, but you, could I say that you were brothers at arms or in arms at that particular point in time? What I'd like to understand is what changed?
Well, what changed is the direction that we were brothers at arms to go to. Because as I have pointed out, what motivated the onset of that war, and it was a very atrocious war. It left in its trails 500,000 people dead. And, we still have huge monuments of scars of people that were consumed by that war. And it was a war, at least according to our own, statements, writings, declarations, a war for Ugandans to regain their voice so that they could have equal opportunities in their country, they could have an equal say, so that there could be transition to a democratic dispensation indeed, where we would have free and fair elections, where there would be scrupulous observance of human rights, where there would be the rule of law that we were talking about. So it was a struggle with very clearly defined objectives. Regrettably, when we got into government, and I was even close to him, even in government, I was a minister in the presidency.
Yes.
and so I was seeing from close quarters what was happening. And we started becoming concerned that the direction that our own government was taking was definitely not in line with the objectives of the struggle that so many people have sacrificed for. And, we started raising our voices and saying, by the way, wait a moment, are we going where we need to go? And then we started getting the rude shocks, saying, shut up. Say, but we can't shut up when we see, the boat drifting. We are talking about the boats earlier. The boat is drifting. No, shut up. And indeed, when some of us continued raising those voices, then we were sacked. And we had at that point, no option but to start becoming more assertive and eventually public about the differences that had arisen. And that's where we are. So the question has always, been, but so did Museveni change his mind? And my clear answer is no. He simply didn't believe in what we were saying.
From the beginning?
Right from the beginning, he didn't.
I have to ask this question because even as you started, did he change? But there is the influence of power. And you see, I'm going to ask you two other questions because if we talk about the influence of power, if, let's say, you got elected as president, what is it that you would say if you're sent that seat that would make you different from Museveni? What guarantees are there that the power and the position that you have would not cause you to change and that you'd be someone who was not what you started off as being?
Well, first of all, I don't think that there is any guarantee that anybody will live by his word.
There's no guarantee.
No, there is none, because, that is the hidden power of God, I think, to read our hearts. Nobody can really tell what in your deep part of your heart. and people can, masquerade very, very effectively. They can. That's why we have wonderful actors. People can act roles
that are convincing.
That they are not. So, two things here. First of all, power is not only enjoyed by the person at the top. We all had power. Even when we came into government, as I have told you, I was a minister, I had power.
So essentially, Museveni was the first among equals.
Yeah, no, he was not amongst equals. But I'm saying, even amongst the unequal,
even at your level, you also had power.
You also have some power.
Yes.
Even those below me somewhere had some power, and indeed, that power, you are right, can be abused at all these levels. So one doesn't have to wait to have the ultimate power in the country to be checked on how they behave when they have power. And that's why it's important when choosing leaders to really interrogate where they have passed, how they have acquitted themselves with the power that they have had at whatever level.
Various stages in their life.
Including in the family. Because even in the family you have power.
Yes.
How do you exercise it? So, yes, people should be interrogated in terms of how they relate with power. But having said that, the guarantor for people to uphold standards of leadership rests with the population. It's the population that must hold leaders to account and to remain serving the standards that are expected of that leadership. The guarantor is not the leader himself or herself. In other words, when you say, if I come into office, this is what I am going to do. It should not depend on your goodwill, and your
benevolence.
Yes, how reliable you are to deliver on what you said. You have made the promise, and people must be able to hold you onto your word. And if you are not serving what you said, to sanction you, and eventually to remove you.
Of the comrades at arms who took power when President Museveni took over the rulership of Uganda, what percentage remained in government and what percentage left?
Oh, well, as I have pointed out, government is a whole range of people.
Yes.
Right from, the most low people to the high people. But if you want to start with the executive, the cabinet, for example.
Yes.
The cabinet that we had, the legislature that we had in 1986, which were formed at that time, I think pretty much the only person that still remains there is Museveni himself. Everybody else has left since. Well, some have, of course, died. Some have, retired. But
ideologically, have they left?
Absolutely. I think the percentage of those that may still be associating with him is completely insignificant. And in fact, very recently we had interesting developments, because there was a minister who is also from the Bush days, but had been, not in the senior leadership in the early days. Somebody, he had not gone far in formal education and so on and so forth, but he had been in the struggle in the bush. So in the last government, he was appointed as a minister without portfolio, the type that will have a lot of difficulty with our swearing in processes where you swear in English and so on. but he served, he was a minister. But while there, he started also raising his voice, about what was going on. So he was dropped in the current government that was now brought in last year. And now, since last year, his son was very vocal, challenging what was going on. And I'm sure you've heard one of the concerns we have on human rights, which is partly why we are here in Nairobi today, having a conference on human rights accountability in Uganda. There is a phenomenon of people being forcefully, grabbed from homes, from streets, and they disappear. They are forced into vehicles and they disappear. So the son of this minister was equally kidnapped. And, so this minister was, shouting, well, how can you do this to me? You know that I have served, this boy disappeared for quite, nobody knew where he was. Eventually, after a long time, he was released. He couldn't walk. He had been very badly tortured. So he was being nursed, and I think it was about 2 weeks later, he woke up. I mean, he didn't wake up. He died. He was buried, about a week or 10 days ago. And there were very, very emotional moments at the funeral of that young man, and the pictures of this former minister, saying, really, what did I do to deserve this? To deserve this kind of treatment? Now, this week, one of the other close associates of Museveni, who had been leading some paramilitary groups that were very violent against us in those elections which were the grounds of our petitions. He was one of he had started in the Bush War and has been leading paramilitary groups. His home was raided this week, and that he's suspected to be also organizing anti-government activities.
You are in Kenya. What would you say, and you've been to this country many times before, are there things you've seen within our country that might lead you to believe that we could head the Uganda way?
Oh yes, of course. You are not completely out of the bushes. You are. As I pointed out, I think you've made significant steps, and we really salute the Kenyans who struggled extremely hard and made immense sacrifices to end the one-party rule and to usher in again the multi-party democracy, to rebuild the democratic processes, have a new constitution, build new institutions that are now more accountable to the people, a legislature, a judiciary where judges are not just capriciously appointed, but where they go through rigorous processes of scrutiny and so on and so forth. These process, these steps that have been achieved in Kenya have been achieved through struggle, through an intense struggle. But you relax a little and they will be reversed because they have not been consolidated. You are still in the process of consolidation.
Yes.
And this is a very, slippery ground. You blink, it's gone. So, we were extremely worried when we had someone, not inconsequential, suggesting that there may even be processes beginning to amend the constitution to remove term limits. Those are the beginnings of worrying signs. And you have, vigilance, maximum vigilance, continued vigilance is called for to in order to achieve the consolidation of a democratic dispensation. And we are watching you very closely because you are leading in that process, and any backsliding will be will negatively impact on all those who are looking at you for inspiration and going by your experience. So, but yes, the Kenyan situation is still definitely there are still many worrying signs. The use of money in the democratic processes here in Kenya, which we see from far, means that influence of the population that we are talking about is still tenuous, because who controls the money?
Sure.
So who controls the money controls the voice, and so civil society still has a huge role here to keep on widening the competencies of citizens to identify danger signals and to push back against negative trends that will creep up in society here.
Can we go back to Uganda for just a minute, Dr. Bessie? Now, from the things that you say, obviously, and the democratic dispensation that you believe in, do you think that the people of Uganda believe in you? Do you think that the people of Uganda believe in the things that you say and, again, maybe are held captive by whatever it is, subjective belief or, lack of willpower to be able to push an agenda through? Do you think that they believe in the tenets of the things that you speak about that would lead them on to making a different decision in the future?
Well, I completely believe so. That, and it's not just the people of Uganda, it's the human nature. Every human being aspires to have freedom. It's an intrinsic kind of need, human need, to have freedom and to have justice, to be treated fairly, and to share equally in whatever opportunities there are. So the people of Uganda definitely want and believe in a dispensation that would afford them that kind of governance. The question is whether belief in itself is not enough. You must have the capacity to translate what you wish, what you believe in, into what happens. And that is where our role really is in trying to create the organizational competencies so that now all these people's voices can be harmonized, that they can speak in concert, that they can act together to say no, we don't accept this, that they can do so and assert their will. That is an area that, yes, they have to be, they have to have leadership elements that help in those processes.
In organizing.
Yes, and that's the humble role that we would want to play. So we are not at a point, and this is important, I think, for people to understand. We are not at a point where the challenge in Uganda is to get a leader. So to say who is the leader, the challenge in Uganda is to get a process that can
Bring a leader.
In other words, even to have the country where, people have the influence. That's where the processes, of course, begin. Where, our country is captive. It's captured. We are residents in a captured country. We are subjects of those who captured us. And so the processes at hand are really liberation processes, freeing the country. And then structuring it, like as I pointed out, you did here in Kenya, structuring it, now having a constitutional framework made by free and empowered citizens.
To move forward. Dr. Besige, we've got to end it there. It's been an interesting 1 hour conversation.
Yes. Maybe before you end it there, let me use this brief moment to inform you and all our listeners that we are here in Nairobi today having a huge conference on accountability on human rights in Uganda. It's at Ufungamano House. It has been organized and coordinated by the Kenya Human Rights Commission. And we are grateful to the Kenya Human Rights Commission for creating a space and opportunity for Ugandans and people from the whole region, actually. We have leaders from Tanzania, from Zimbabwe, from Uganda, from Kenya here, who are all meeting to see. Because human rights, as I pointed out, are universal. And any abuse of human rights anywhere is abuse of human rights everywhere. So if the people in the region don't focus on what is happening in Uganda, it will affect them. So we are grateful to be here, and we thank all those that have organized.
Karibu sana, and we thank you very much as well for visiting us here at SpiceFM.
Thank you.
Come again soon.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Kiza Besige, Uganda opposition leader. Keep it here for more. Good morning. It's about 2 minutes after 9.
Its mandate before, during and after the elections. And the European Union has identified Kenya's election as one of the most expensive in the continent amid rising financial challenges in the country. 3 months after the general elections, the EU now wants stakeholders to address the high cost of implications as the country continues to grapple with drought challenges. This came as the EU expressed its concern over failure to meet the 2/3 gender rule as envisaged in the constitution and representation of people with disability. This emerged during the 3rd National Legal Aid Conference on Access to Justice organized by UNDP and Egerton University in Naivasha. And the Association of Boda Riders in Nakuru town has vowed to work with the police to identify rogue operators conspiring with criminals to steal from people. Speaking in Nakuru town, the Boda chairperson John Theuri said that they are ready to pinpoint those bad people hiding in the industry in a bid to protect their source of income. He at the same time expressed regret that many thieves and other bad people have always found solace in the industry, either as operators or as impersonators. A rider identified as Chuck Drug Mambo said the industry easily harbors thieves because of the nature of their riding gear. He said that they are always ready to warn their fellow riders who are involved in crimes and at the same time ready to give information to the administration in order to protect the industry. And Kisumu County has rolled out a monthly tree planting campaign in a bid to grow 3 million tree seedlings by 2025. The monthly tree planting drive will take place every 10th day of the month as part of the heightened efforts to turn the lakeside city green and improve its forest cover. The program will be implemented through the support of participation of the local residents, county staff and leaders, as well as sponsors from the corporate industry. Governor Nyanyongo says having a tree planting day by the citizenry is a way of instilling an environmental conservation culture in the county. He observed that the exercise would go a long way in mitigating the adverse effects of climate change like drought and floods. And tourism stakeholders drawn from Kenya and Uganda have mooted a plan to market tourism products in both countries jointly. Consul General of Uganda, Ambassador Paul Mukumbia, said both countries are endowed with a rich culture, unique safaris, beaches, and historical heritage, making the two nations ideal for travel. During a tourism conference which is underway in Mombasa, stakeholders from the two countries are expected to foster synergies that will promote tourism products in the two countries. In the first 8 months to August, international tourists visiting Kenya rose 91% to 924,812, up from 483,246 international tourists who jetted in the country in the same period last year, signaling a recovery in the sector that had been battered by the COVID-19 pandemic. During the period, tourism earnings more than doubled to 167.1 billion shillings compared to 83.2 billion shillings recorded in a similar period last year. The conference will, among others, discuss tourism products, packaging, innovation, and technology infrastructure to maximize the potential that exists in Uganda and Kenya's coastal region. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Asata. Good morning.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you are sentenced, you are sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside.
Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
You've had the luxury of living for 50 years and you cannot still explain yourself. Surely. Oh my God.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
All right.
Okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No. It's about shipping out. You know my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the ship in the bathtub or
the ship man?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Continues to be a busy morning in most parts of the city. Still coming off Gong Road with that issue, and it's going to move slowly as you get towards the junction, heading out towards Community. Some traffic still on the Thika Superhighway coming into town. And we're also looking at Outer Ring, which was really heavy, but it's not so bad right now. So let's look at Wangari Maathai. It's going to connect coming out of Westlands and also into the CBD. That's still pretty busy, as is Ring Road, Westlands. It still continues with a lot of traffic this morning. The rain still coming down in certain parts of the city, so let's keep an eye on that. Through the morning, let's know what's going on. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room,
It's
the only way to start your day.
To the final hour of the show this morning. This is the Situation Room live on SpiceFM. Ndu, this Samsung gadgets that you've been flaunting about
everywhere.
Yeah.
So, whether there's a tab where we get these fantastic things, you can watch your movies and do your stuff, or it's the earbuds which allow me to listen to my music and I can get wrapped up in that whole world of fantastic sound, attend my meetings, pick up my calls. It's fantastic. That's the word, eh? Or the watch, which lets us know whether it's raining, actually raining, or whether you slept better or slept less, or whether you should sleep more tonight.
Whether your stress levels are within limit
or through the roof. It is fantastic. It's the Samsung watch Pro.
The watch. It's called the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro.
Exactly. Your lifelong companion.
And the buds are called the Samsung Galaxy Bud 2 Pro. Yes?
Yes.
Very, very beautiful gadgets. And CT is today not using just the tab. He's also using the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4 phone to get the Proverb.
You know, it's amazing what this equipment, this gadget, this phone can do.
Actually, you're going to call it paraphernalia.
No, I wouldn't call it. I would rather use the word accessory.
Okay.
Because my partner in progress. Right. Meaning, yes, imagine you talk on it, you send money on it.
It tells you about your life.
Yes.
You consume news and other content on it.
Yes.
You save content on it.
Precisely.
You put your thoughts on it for future reference.
People can send their thoughts to you as well. And you can get thoughts that no one actually sent to you, but you received. But more importantly, my friend, you can store information.
Yep.
Lots and lots and lots of information.
You can basically just carry all your memories as you're going every day. So you've met with Dr. Kisa Besige today. You've taken a phone with the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4.
Yes.
You've saved it. You save it in your gallery. You take beautiful photos. This one, Kwanza, the camera has very many things you can do.
Yes. If my intention was even to record the conversation, I could have recorded the conversation.
You know.
Okay. Anyway, let me just use the phone for this particular message. A canoe. The message here is a proverb. A canoe does not know who the leader is. When it turns, everyone gets wet. And I like what Dr. Besige said. We are all in this boat together. We're in the same boat. So if this same boat turns, capsizes, bus, effect, same. If we're all in the water, we're all drinking.
We're all getting wet.
Without exception. Without exception. Yes.
If we are here, we're here. We float.
We float.
We float together.
We sink.
We sink together.
Sisi yote tunakwenda.
Sisi yote. Sisi yote tunakwenda.
Sisi yote nakwenda.
Okay.
Na maji. It's a bad thing. So we're going to be having a conversation shortly about the 7th annual Week of Italian Cuisine in the world. This year, and we'll be joined shortly by the deputy head of mission at the Embassy of Italy in Kenya. Before she gets here, we continue the conversation, basically just picking off what Dr. Besige was saying, his experience. So yes, he started agitating for entrenchment of democracy in the 80s. He did not go to the bush. When they came back from the bush, he joined government, he worked in government, and then he felt that this thing was veering off course, and he hopped off the bus and stayed in what he believed was the true north. And
you know, it's interesting, but again, if you look at what are generally referred to as freedom struggles, they seem to follow a certain pattern. People are banded together as brothers and sisters in the struggle. And they stay together until the quest is achieved. Then suddenly, people start going their separate ways. In some cases, there are fallouts. In some cases, there are terrible fallouts. You see, the question that I asked is it the person or is it the influence that power exerts on someone once you are in that position? Because, yes, and even when he talks about influence, there's an influence that we didn't talk about. Remember, we were formerly a colony. The countries in our region were former colonies, with the exception of Ethiopia. Okay? Now, what makes us think that the colonizers actually stepped aside completely and just sat back and let us go about our business our own merry way. What about the influence that they exert in these matters? What about the say that they have in these matters? Not talked about, but I believe it exists. So when we talk about political power, in the absence of structures that have been normalized, that have become a way of life, as Dr. Besige mentioned, one should remain vigilant. And even when they have been entrenched, one should never let their guard down. Not because the systems are bad, but because of human nature and how human beings respond to certain stimuli. Power being one of the most potent of these stimuli.
Indeed.
Yes.
I mean, it's interesting to watch the struggle, and we talk about the struggle on the continent when it comes to being free from the shackles of colonization and other things. But it just seems as though it continues to be a constant struggle. That even when you do have those freedoms, that you still have to fight to keep them in place because the elements of human nature will play. At whatever level, it doesn't really matter. That you still have to fight for it on a daily basis. That the things you do, the structures that you put in place, the kind of policies that you then apply, whether it's at a state level, government level, are the things that are essentially going to protect that thing which you fought for. And to say that this thing, in its perfect image, in its perfect position, still needs to be guarded, and that the vanguards that you put in place are those things of good leadership, of proper policy, of right reform in terms of agenda, in terms of the people that you will put in positions in the future to lead. Those are the things that essentially protect this position which you've gained over time. Those are the things that... And so you cannot say that we've achieved this position and now we're going to sleep on the job. But that whatever you do, whatever your cycle of government is, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, that you're constantly fighting to retain or improve that position of the freedoms that you fought for in the first place. It's no easy task, and I think that's what it is, that you have to be awake to the reality that it could all go to the dogs.
So you have a lot of work to keep doing.
Always.
You constantly have to be on the lookout, and
there has to be a resident sense of this protection. It has to be there. Otherwise, human nature comes into play.
It does. And the worst aspects of human nature, that. The selfish nature, the selfish aspect of our nature.
Which is why you have a constitution that establishes systems and puts in institutions.
Yes.
So that then those institutions are also doing that job. Because also you as a human being, you are also susceptible to human nature.
You are.
That human nature is either this person comes and they sway you to their side, or you just develop fatigue. This thing of waking up every day and your job is to govern the government. It's too much work. Put in institutions, put in people there, and you make sure that the vetting process then is what is crucial. Now, I think the job then that we have to do is to think about how we vet those that are putting in those institutions, starting with the direct representatives of the people, Parliament. If we are not thinking deeply about the people that we are sending to Parliament, then we have to constantly keep thinking about making sure that the people that we send to Parliament are doing the thing that they should be doing.
You're right, Eric. And alongside that, if I may add, there has to be also entrenched a process that we internalize and accept, that we can also remove these individuals, so that we know that if we elect you, and for reasons perhaps best known to yourself, and your 10 best friends, the people around you, you have chosen not to abide by the dictates of what you promise you to do, then we being the sovereign owners of this particular country, we can tell you, excuse me, this employment contract is coming to an end. Yes, we gave it to you on these conditions. And understandably, the conditions are not being met. We have to remove you.
Do you think it gets to the point where there's a realization that people can actually... I think there's and it could be latent. The latent realization, acknowledgement that people actually have the power to do this thing. But there seems to be a gap between the acknowledgement and the actual doing of the thing. That what's it going to take to get people to that point? Because it really struck me what he said about, you have a people who are irrelevant when it comes to then the leadership and the entrenchment of democracy in their nation. That there may be the thought... But that thought that leads to action is what... You don't see that middle act. You don't see that action. You don't see it. What's it going to take for you to get to the point where you say, you know what? this power that we keep saying we have, which has then been given to us by this said living and active constitution, right? What's it going to take? How bad does it have to get before the people actually say, you know what, man, woman, we are the ones who put you here. And by nature of that power, we see that you're not fulfilling the tenets of this position. We will remove you.
I think it's already happening. If you basically look at the fact that today, close to 3 months after governors were sworn in, they don't have their CECs in place. It tells you something. It tells you the power of the people. The people are arguing. People are pushing back. People are raising questions. People are saying, wait, at how many people have you put into that CEC?
No. How did you put them there? How did you get this person in this position? This is the procedure. How come we didn't see you following this procedure?
There's that awareness and there's that push from whatever level and however.
It's on the rise, actually.
It's actually on the rise.
It is on the rise.
More than half of governors have not constituted their governments yet.
Do you know what is really of interest, Eric? Is that what I refer to as the selfish nature of our politicians, which is actually human nature at its very worst. It is what, yes, you focus on self-interest and self-gain, but what you don't know is what you're setting in motion. You've heard me say this on many occasions, and I repeat it. You never really understand the totality of what you've set in motion. The more people suffer, you think they'll get used to it. At some point, they ask themselves a simple question: do I really need to suffer the way I'm suffering? And why is it that I'm suffering? And yet, when I look around me, there are people who aren't suffering at all. There are people who are planning to go for the World Cup. Okay? I'm not letting go of that one.
No, clearly not.
There are people who are determined to buy V8s. There are huge buildings coming up in posh areas, and people are living in it and paying rent.
And there's some that are falling down.
Yes, and I can't afford a meal a day. I mean, wait, something is not right here. And I live in the same country, and I'm taxed. Because the moment you have any little money and you buy, you are being taxed. Someone says, no, excuse me. I'm not putting up with this nonsense. Now, that awareness is what we're seeing, as you say. When you talk about the Omtata of Meru, he's not alone. Others are there, and we will be hearing their voices. People are saying, you know, this constitution, we can actually just read it and understand it.
Yeah,
for ourselves, we can figure it out.
So it's in English. We'll just read it, and if we don't, we'll ask somebody who has studied the law to explain it to us. But we are going to operationalize it. Now, so long as that is in the increase, the check and balance that we're speaking of is actually on the move, and it is rising. Where you do something wrong, you'll be told, excuse me, that is actually not right.
It is not right.
Yes.
Not the way to do it.
No.
If you look at the people who've gone to court, in Nakuru, a voter has gone to court.
Yes.
Challenging Keheka's CCM's
Yes.
nominees. In Nairobi, a voter has gone to court saying, Sakaja, you forgot the minorities, the Nubian community in this country, in this county.
Yes.
Why are they not there?
Yes.
This man called Dr. Magare Gikenyi, who is...
He's also in Nakuru.
He decided he's going to court to challenge Dr. William Ruto's nominees for PSS.
Yes.
Like, what do you mean? You've never heard of Dr. Gikenyi?
No.
You've never heard of... I mean, they are there. And because we are seeing the rising voices across the country, it does tells you something, that there is that awareness.
The awareness is growing.
And wokeness.
And it's not just awareness.
And the willingness to take action.
Precisely. They are aware, and they are willing to take something. They are willing to do something about that awareness.
Yes.
And they know that they are courts of law. And I dare say that our courts have assisted enormously. Because our courts have been willing to say, this is what the law says, and this is our position. Okay? You may disagree with their findings and the outcome,
but
they take positions.
Yeah. And the fact that they have done that then also encourages people to have confidence in that system.
Yes, it does.
And that's why more and more people are going to court. Now, there's one thing that Dr. William Ruto has also done. When the court order against the vetting of PSS was issued, Dr. William Ruto has said that, you know what, this administration has committed to obeying the rule of law and obeying court orders.
So
you know what that has done? Process. So it's actually possible to stop the president.
Bas,
we will do it.
Bas. So all I need is a court order.
That's it.
And the president is stopped in his tracks. And because he has committed to obey court orders, that's it. I just need a judge to see my point.
That's it.
Bas. He has opened another door.
Now you see, that's how people open up spaces.
And it's a good thing.
And even when there was this declaration by an individual voicing his opinion that perhaps we should extend the term limits, he has come up and said, no.
I'm against this.
Look, gave reference. We oppose the BBI.
Then now.
And then now this has come up. No, I'll be at the forefront of opposing this thing. Now, those two situations and statements have opened up this space completely.
Yep.
Who else is going to dare think that they're going to ignore court orders from now on? Who? Tell me.
Kwisha. And if he has come out to say, I will not ignore court orders,
yes,
what will make him reverse that?
Isn't that an interesting question?
What? Consider the various court orders that have been issued in the Uhuru administration, which were not executed, okay? Whether it's about the CASs. There's a court case against the CASs, right?
Yes.
There is now a case against the PSs. There's a challenge on various other things. All those, plus things that will come. Somebody will say, you know what, I don't think this law followed due process in enactment of this law. Hustler fund, court order. What? Yeah, this is democracy at play.
Is it not a good thing?
It's a very good thing.
Because when the dust settles, you'll have a playing field that is more coherent and one where the citizenry feel, you know something, I actually do have a voice.
However, though, where do you throw in the balance and strike a balance between, seeking to express yourself and developing a society that is completely litigious? Every single thing, tutakutana mbele.
Oh, no.
Tutakutana mbele.
It's a good thing.
Tutakutana mbele.
I think before the balance is actually found, Eric, extremities have to be gone to. And it's the same court who will tell you this is a nuisance factor, go away.
They'll start now doing that.
They're telling you, stop being silly.
Yes.
Go and organize your thoughts before you come here. What do you think this place is? You have a disagreement with your neighbor? Settle it with your neighbor. We're not going to deal with this thing. That will happen. But the thing is, the proliferation of it simply tells you, the term used woke. It means the awareness has grown. And if there's a preponderance of it, it'll mean people have gotten the bug and they're exercising their rights and seeing, can we really exercise it?
So how far can we push this?
So they'll push. At some point, they'll be told, excuse me, this one, you don't bring it here.
Yeah, you've come enough.
Yes, and also remember, we have alternate dispute resolution mechanisms, okay?
Yes.
And they have also grown with time, have they not?
Yes.
So these avenues will be busy, but that is a good thing. It means we have internalized and we've actually said, okay, so there are ways in which we can actually resolve some of these issues that we have. And we'll be pursuing. The preponderance will simply tell us that we are pursuing those avenues more and more and more. Yes. And that, again, is
a good thing. Like you said.
Yes.
All right. So let's take a break at 28 minutes after 9. We're waiting to have Lorenza Gambakota, who's the Deputy Head of Mission at the Italian Embassy in Kenya. As we do that, have you booked your space in the bus? Jimmy Gathu will be taking people to Naserian Ridge Phase 3. Pay bill number 4068347. Just to account, put your ID. Amount 2,000. Don't put 2001. Don't put 2022. Just put 2000.
That's it.
Yeah. Then enter PIN number. The PIN number that you put is your own PIN number. And then click send.
Ujaweka account?
Your account ishasema.
Usema ni
ID. So with that, then you get to be on the bus with Jimmy Gathu this Saturday from 10 a.m. as we head to Naserian Ridge Phase 3. It's only 15 kilometers. That's about 20 minutes on the new Tamak Road, Barbara Nyeri, from Ngong Town heading towards Suswa. And you will see this beautiful piece of land. We had the director of Naserian Ridge yesterday here, Peter Kariuki, and he was telling us Phase 3 is 80 plots of different sizes. There's a 50 by 100 and then there are a few commercial plots because this was now close to the tarmac and it's also close to a developing market, close to a town.
And they've also created space for social amenities.
There you go.
Yes.
So you buy this, it's good for speculation, it's good also for thinking about where to put up your own home in the future. 50 by 100, 650,000 shillings. We'll be back shortly. Let's take a break, take a look at the weather and traffic.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
This is 00 Direct, woman host, music by women, and only women guest.
Everything is so larger than life. You kind of have to have a good understanding of who you are. You could easily lose yourself.
We have a global approach in the programs that we put together, meaning that it's not just about refining my business, it's about refining the industry, it's about touching the youth and making sure that in totality, change actually happens.
Catch 00 Direct every Saturday from 10 a.m.
Only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The rain showers continue in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 22 and lows of 15. Light rain in Nakuru, highs of 22 and lows of 14. 14 will also be the low in rainy Nyeri at 17. It's 16 and cloudy in Eldoret, highs of 21, and 30 will be the high in Mombasa, where it's now cloudy at 27. 26 and rain showers in Malindi, highs of 30, and we'll see highs of 26. In a rainy Kisumu at 20. 21 and mostly cloudy in Kakamega, going to highs of 24. We'll see highs of 25 in a rainy Kampala at 21 and 29. In a rainy Dar es Salaam, going to highs of 31. It's sunny in Johannesburg at 23, highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 32. And now a hazy Lagos at 26. Rain showers at 24 in Kinshasa, highs of 29 and lows of 23. We're looking at sunny conditions at 15 in Beijing, highs of 16 and lows of 3. And we'll see highs of 14 in a cloudy Paris at 11 and lows of 8. Rain now in London at 9, highs of 11 and lows of 8. And New York at 5 degrees. Coming into Thursday, we'll see highs of 9 and lows of 2.
London Mulwa DJ Absolute. When the gang is together.
Got the sugar, got the spice.
Yorada. Yes.
I have missed you like hot hamburgers. Eh?
Like hot hamburgers.
You know, bad boys give more money than you can count.
Hey, bad boys give more money than you can count. If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock, but if I were you, I'd tune in to
Sugar and Spice, only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So if you say it's on, then it's on.
Yeah. Traffic on Jogo Road coming into the city. We're looking at it heavy on Lusaka as well. It's going to touch a little bit on Uhuru Highway getting into the city. Langata Road is looking a lot better now, thank goodness, as is Railo Odinga Way. But then you're going to get to Ngong Road, which has been crazy from the very beginning. It's spilling over to Valley Road, State House Road, well into Kileleshwa, Dennis Pritt. That whole area is still a bit of a mess. It's not letting up on the thicker superhighway, at least not for now. After survey, we're going to get all the way through to Wangari Maathai Way, and it touches just on Uhuru Highway as well. Continues to be busy this morning. The rain is not helping. Actually, the rain is helping, but you know, traffic-wise, it's going to be a bit of an issue. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
When you're impeached, When you're sentenced,
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside.
Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
You've had the luxury of living for 50 years and you cannot still explain yourself. Surely. Oh my God.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
All right.
Okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No. It's about shipping up. You know my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the ship in the bathtub? Or
the ship man.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
All right, it's 27 minutes to 10. The conversation continues. We've been talking about the Italian Cuisine Week, and we've been saying about what's happening in Nairobi. There's several restaurants you go to, and if you order the main, then they'll give you free tiramisu. Yes. And you vote for the best. Mm-hmm. And then you tell us which one you have enjoyed most. If you're in Malindi, around Watamu, around that area, you've probably spotted the tuk-tuk with Italian products, and you go there and you ask, so what is this? And they tell you, it's called what? That ugali thing?
Polenta.
Yeah, that one.
Ugali made in Italy. And as I said, I ate it. Delightful stuff. Tastes like ugali.
Okay. All right. To tell us more about this is the Deputy Head of Mission at the Italian Embassy in Kenya, Lorenza Gambagota. Good morning.
Good morning. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Welcome to Kenya's Biggest Conversation.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here with us. So this city attended.
Yes, I did.
And he's just been talking about it all week, telling us how he attended this event at the ambassador's residence and sampled all the Italian cuisine, including Italian wine.
Yes. Aperitif. I knew the word, but I actually encountered one.
You encountered now aperitif.
Yeah, that thing is something else. Then I came across the wines, and I asked. That's when I knew there was some. I said light wine. I said okay. Then I was only a full-bodied one.
Now this.
Okay. So when the body is full, what happens exactly? Well, it was explained to me. So it's an experience that one can speak of because it was enlightening, and should we say I have knowledge I didn't have before? Yes.
Lorenza, this Italian Cuisine Week is actually global.
Yes.
Give us the genesis of this. I mean, why was it started and what was their whole idea?
Yes, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs decided to organize this initiative worldwide. So while we are in Kenya, also in all the rest of the world where we have embassies, and we have many, so they are organized activities to promote Italian cuisine and Italian tradition in the culinary arts. So the idea is just not spreading awareness about Italian cuisine and Italian products, but also create occasion for trainship. For example, we had Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. For example, here in Kenya, we had our celebrity chef, that is Giuseppe Geraci. He's an Italian chef from Italy, Sicily. I underline this. Yes, exactly. Very, very famous for his Mediterranean diet style. Cuisine. So he's in town, and for example, he was involved in 2 days training courses at the Utali College here in Nairobi, and then yesterday we held a masterclass for chefs. So the major chef of the city were brought to Capital Club to enjoy a master class. And so, as I said, it's also an occasion for sharing technique and skills among professionals or students that want to be in the culinary art. You know, the touristic sector is employing a lot of people also in Italy and also here, of course. So this creates opportunities also for specializing in some skills that are important for your job in the future, if you are a student or if you are already a professional chef in your daily work. So the idea, you see, it's very to approach the thematic of the cuisine from different angles. There is also a scientific part in it. We had, for example, a symposium about nutrition and diets, because this is also something key for our generation, but also for the next generation. What we eat, it will have an impact also on our health, and so it was important also to tackle this aspect
from that angle.
Yes, from that angle, for example.
Why?
And then, of course, the conviviality side, because eating in Italy is not just a necessity of your body, but it's really a ritual. So it involves families, it involves tradition, it involves innovation, and of course we try to be more sustainable as possible. So we have that philosophy that behind a dish there is all a food chain behind, and we try our best to eat locally, in the sense that the products are produced locally produced. So what we call 0 kilometers products. So they are really in the garden of our neighbor, let's say.
Yeah.
So that has an impact, of course, also on the pollution, because if you have less transport, then you pollute less, but also on the health. So we try to combine all these concepts and this philosophy, putting down the program of the week. And last things also, another goal of this week is create awareness, because Italian cuisine is one of the most popular of the Mediterranean diet, but is also one of the most copied. So we have a problem, and we realize this create also an impact on the made in Italy trade. Is that what we call Italian sounding. So many products, they seems to be Italian, but they don't respect our tradition, our innovation, our Italian.
So not everything that is Italian is actually Italian.
Exactly. You know, last year, I give you a very short statistic. Last year, out of 4 products sold as Italian, only 1 was real Italian. So
Where?
3 were fake worldwide.
What?
People saying there's an Italian product, but it's not.
Yes.
Oh.
So many products are not, in Italy we have a very strong regulation about products and the process of the products, and also about their origin. So we had a lot of regulation about the origin of the products, how you create them, etc. So if you don't respect those regulations, then the product is not a real, is a fake, right? So, for example, Parmigiano, you have a lot of Parmesan that is remind the clients or the guests, remind you the Parmigiano, but it's not the real one.
Cheese.
So exactly,
Yeah.
Parmigiano cheese. It is an example. Also wines, also pizza, that is the most popular Italian dish, right? And pasta. But then, if you go in the details, then you see that the majority of what is sold abroad, it reminds you to be Italian, but it's not. So it's interesting. This is has a lot of impact on the trade.
When they say it's Italian and not Italian, is it because of the amount, the quantity, the preparation, or the sauce? What is it that makes it not Italian, really? Because you've talked about Italian, there is strict regulation.
Yes.
In your food system. So these products that you found globally that are branded as Italian but not Italian,
for example,
what did they? What was
the
wrong
most
with them?
important is the quality. So we have regulation because we are very keen in maintaining the quality of the tradition of our products, and of course also we use innovation as a mixture to combine what was tradition but what we can do in a better or more modern way or with modern technique. So when you, coming back to the Parmesan cheese, for example, so Parmigiano is called like that because it is produced in a specific area of Italy, right? So if you don't follow some rules, for example, amount of milk to produce it, from where that milk need to come from, then, for example, the salt or all the other ingredients that make the Parmigiano, then if you don't respect all this, then it's not Parmigiano, because Parmigiano is regulated by law. So by law, you have to have this. So we tried also to bring our experience in regulated food to guarantee quality of what we eat, because that is, as I said, is also linked to the health, to the nutrition, to the diet. So we try to share this, our experience, for example, in that symposium I was mentioning before. And because it's something that we did quite well. So we have many products that are protected. If I remember correctly, there are more than 350, for example, wines that are protected. We are one of the most with the most strict regulation in Europe, for example. And so, as I said, is an experience that we had that is also we consider it is positive, so we wanted to share also with the during that symposium, for example, because I think it's also important here to have products protected that are locally produced, so you can guarantee better the quality of that products,
right? And
like
so,
coffee or other commodities, teas or others.
Sure. So it goes beyond just the flashy title of having good Italian food. It goes beyond that. I mean, some of the things that we talk about, from that part of the Mediterranean, and how there's the longevity of life because of what you put into the food. So we're also then looking at the preservation of culture.
Yes.
And so when we talk about that, then in my mind I'm thinking then that's why you chose food to celebrate this, because then there are so many other things that come out as a result of that. Are those is it along these lines then that we start to think when we say, okay, when I think about pasta and pizza, it's beyond that. It's really protecting health. It's also preservation of culture. It's also getting people to see what really comes in when you're talking about the different kinds of foods that are available.
Yes, and also to preserve what we have today for the next generation. Because if we don't produce and eat sustainable, then we will have problems in the next future. So we need also to take into consideration what is behind what we have in our plate. And also, we need also to consider do not waste. In the kitchen, you can waste a lot of food, leftovers, and scratches. So also, this was one of the topic that the chef introduced and discussed with the other chef and the students at the Italy College, because you can reuse the leftover and scratch from the kitchen for preparing delicious food. And this is also important because wasting food is also wasting resources, because for that food we have used so many resources, energy, and time. Yes, but there is all a chain behind that, right? So if we reduce the waste, for example, and also in this we had a specific regulation. We were the second in Europe of Italy was the second in Europe of introducing a law against food waste, especially in the hotel and the restaurants.
Industry.
In the industry, because that is tons of waste per year per person is too much.
Lorenza, in addition to this, bringing an Italian chef here and having master classes with chefs, going to Italy College and training those who are studying there, is the government, let's say, is the Italian embassy in Nairobi also organizing or thinking of scholarships or sponsoring people who'd be interested in learning more about the Italian culinary culture, to go to Italy, to spend time, to see where these things are produced, to see how they're produced, to understand the thinking behind the various regulations that you have in place, so that then people get to understand. So when you talk about people dealing with Italian cuisine in Kenya, there are those that say, actually, I have been to Italy, I have spent time preparing some of these dishes in Italy, or preparing some of these products in Italy, in the farms in Italy. Anything like that organized?
So in Italy, for example, gastronomy is a degree. So it's at university level. So among the scholarship that our government is offering in general for study in Italy, you can choose also, for example, the University of Gastronomy. We have some very important, for example, close in Piemonte, close to Turin. Pollenzo University, they were involved, for example, in our symposium, some professor. And but then we discussed with the Italy College, we start a conversation about that, how we can improve this and create more long-lasting links between Italian chef and Italian schools, or with the government school here in Kenya. And see how we can create more, let's say, training opportunities for the student, because to be exposed to international cuisine is also something important in a curriculum of a chef, an hotelier.
You know, one of the things that is interesting when you talk about cuisine, and you talk about cuisine being promoted internationally, there's a thinking behind it. There's a reason behind it. How long has this process been? How many years has it been in effect? And from what you have seen over the years, what are some of the results that you have actually witnessed with the promotion of Italian cuisine around the world?
Yes, this is the 7th edition. So we are, we launched, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs launched the ideas initially with one, let's say, objective, but now with the 7th edition, we are bringing too many components to that initial, the initial idea that was more maybe promoting Italian food worldwide, and now it's a more comprehensive, as I said, program. And in all the countries around the world, you see that the program for the week is quite full of events that tackle the issue from different angles and perspectives. From the first edition, a lot has changed in also the commitment of the embassy to really involve also different actors and link more also with the local government where the initiative are organized, to create really not just awareness about Italian food, but a reflection about food in general and about products and how you produce and the technique, the innovation that you can bring. Now, I give you an example of one. We have organized this year also some podcasts that you can find on our social media.
Right.
I remind you you can follow us at Italy in Kenya. Very simple. So if you go there, you can find some podcasts also on agriculture in space. So there is, for example, here in Kenya we have a special relation with the Kenya Space Agency, because in Malindi there is the Luigi Broglio Space Center.
Yeah.
And so there is a professor, for example, in Italy. They are studying how to grow crops in the space, in Mars, I think, or in the moon. I don't remember now. But you see, so it's how wide can be talking about cuisine.
Yeah.
So you broaden it.
So if you're interested,
it's about where you produce it.
But
forget you on the moon.
I don't know how to import that, but it's an example, so it's quite interesting.
But of interest, when you talk about the introduction of science, I actually came across a very interesting individual. Remember that capsule that was launched and that made Kenya be known as one of the countries that actually has an interest in a satellite in space?
Yes.
Now, the Italian government was involved in that process, and the professor who was actually in
This
charge...
is a job with the KU,
Yes.
with Kenyatta University students.
Yes, and others. Now, the professor who was actually in charge of that process is now in Kenya, and he heads the Department of Science within the embassy. I found it interesting because I've never heard of any such department anywhere in any embassy. So it tells you how serious this growing of crops on the moon and Mars is.
Can become,
Looking into the future, why did the Ministry of Foreign Affairs choose culinary cuisine as a thing to promote globally, as expanding your culture, your influence on culture? Why not fashion? Why not something else? Why not arts? Why not design?
Now, every year we have special days for all the the things you have mentioned. So we have a special day for contemporary art. We have a special day for design. We had, for example, in October, the Italian Week for Language. So along the year, there are some fixed, let's say, dates where we celebrate some aspect of our culture. But culinary definitely is helping you to create more link with the country where you are hosted, because that is a good channel for also building bridges across people and sharing experience and tradition. We are quite similar also with Kenyan in terms of how, for example, the family is important for us. Food family means long lunches, and it's very famous in Italy to be on Sunday. Sunday lunch is quite important. It's a ritual.
It's a family thing.
Yes, it's a family thing, and I think this is a connection that we have also with the Kenyan people, because also for you this aspect is important.
Sharing a meal is a very important thing.
Yeah, it's a moment.
It's a moment that you all come together, you all share, you try not to fight. Try not to, this is where you settle things and move together and feel the bonds of a family.
Yeah, exactly.
You say this is a very big thing in Italian culture.
Yeah.
Explain. Give us examples. How do you mean?
Because in Italy, normally you live during the week, you are very busy, with work, but also here everywhere in the sense. But Sunday is the day for the family, for family activities, and one of the activities going to see your grandmother or grandfather, and all the family reunion are really linked to some food moment, let's say. So, for example, Christmas or other celebration that we have, everything starts around the table. So, this is a moment for conversation, it's a moment for reunion. It's really a special moment. Last year, for example, there was an initiative on the Ministry of collecting pictures and photos of those reunion to see how culture changed, because in a family photo you can see, for example, the dishes that were used in that time, or how the style has changed along the years, right? So starting from that moment, you can do also an analysis about the culture, the historical part that is behind, the historical moment that the families were living in that specific period. And so you can, from a picture, you can really start with a long discussion about what was that time. And I think also here is important, is a moment for the family to be together, to be around the table. So we try to, with this week, we try to also launch ideas that that moments are also important. So
when you talk about the family and food, there's a very well-known African writer called Chinua Achebe, and he had something to say about food. And the quotation, I'm paraphrasing, is that when somebody invites you to their house for a meal, it isn't that they don't have food in their houses. No. It is because food brings people together. Exactly what you're saying. It brings people together. It gives them an opportunity to share, and it gives them an opportunity to do things that you wouldn't be able to do if the food wasn't there. So the societal and cultural role of food is something that is often ignored, more so with the advent. Now, this one, I'm not bad-mouthing fast food. I'm simply saying, but with the advantage, with the advancement of fast food, that particular notion somehow was watered down. Because everything then is relegated to being fast. Yet the opportunity to actually sit and let time and space have its moment is actually lost. Yes. So the idea that you say it's not just with Kenya, but it's with this continent. And you'll find it's also similar if you go to Asia or Southeast Asia. Similar traits.
It's the same thing that happens.
Similar traits. The issue and the relevance of a meal and how it brings people together and how it's central to the culture and the way people live.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lorenza, thank you for joining us today. And we've been talking about this Italian Cuisine Week and talking about the restaurants that are participating in this in Nairobi. Restaurants that are serving Italian cuisine and what's happening as well in Malindi and all. How many more days left?
So we are in the middle of the week. So today, for example, this night, our celebrity chef will prepare a special fine dining experience at Capital Club. Then we will have tomorrow, we are participating in the Christmas box here in Nairobi. So there will be a special Taverna Italia. So people can enjoy also an aperitif style, Italian aperitif style, with street food, but chic street food. Then also in Mombasa Saturday, there will be also a Christmas market. So we are also there with an aperitif also there. And then the competition for tiramisu is still going on. So until Sunday, you can still taste and vote for the best tiramisu in town. And then we will end the week with another masterclass for kids in Mombasa. So we are still a few days to go.
It's a busy few days to come.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Lorenza Gambacorta is the Deputy Head of Mission at the Italian Embassy in Nairobi, and we've been talking about the Italian Cuisine Week. Yes, you can hear there's still more activities. Thank you very much for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation today. Join us again tomorrow morning. It'll still be part of the Italian Cuisine Week. Have a lovely day, people.
Led by Kiambu County officials and Kenya Defence Forces officials, as rescue efforts continue in Kasarani, where another 7-story building collapsed 3 days ago. As of now, 3 people have been reported dead in the incident, while 4 are still missing since the tragedy occurred. The police are in pursuit of the owner of the building,